Chris, we were in the room just seconds ago talking with a bunch of people, and we were talking about us not knowing that Roy yesterday arrived for work after landing 3 flights he took from Edmonton to Miami, and he gets into Miami at 6:30 and then just comes straight in after the flights. And Stugotz says out of the side of his mouth, Chris Cody lives 20 minutes away and couldn't get in yesterday.
Yeah, giving Roy a hard time.
I didn't give Roy a hard time.
No, Dan was.
Well, I was giving him a hard time about celebrating the time of his life with I'm tired all the time. Like, all he's saying is he's tired instead of that he's joyful, but he's choosing this. And if we didn't allow him to do it, he would be infuriated. Now, I assure you, Chris, your father is now infuriated that he is not working this week, even though last week he was complaining about how often he's being used twice a week. I'm certain that everyone around here has a way to complain about the thing they don't have, even if they had it.
He's found a way to work both complaining and celebrating not being in.
But Roy has developed a great talent there too, and it just seems like the wrong way to be the day you can win the championship in hockey.
But you get it, right? Like 3 flights back to back to back. You land, then like it's quick turn. If you would have missed a flight, well, what would you have done yesterday?
Right, 3 flights, comes to work. Yesterday wasn't the day they had a chance to win the cup. Today is.
Yes, but he wants to do it. He's asking to do it. He requested it. He and Rose concocted a trip to Finland last summer that they wanted to go.
That would have been a good one.
Go spend time with Barkov, and now he gets to do it, and he's complaining about doing it.
I think it's a coming in that he didn't love after landing at 6:30 a.m. with an overnight flight when, again, Chris lives 20 minutes away.
I was at a funeral yesterday.
Oh, well, I mean, where's that person going?
Was it for Edmonton?
Wow,
that's tomorrow.
I think
Sorry,
it's because
Chris,
Roy
by the
is
way.
dry.
That would be today. The funeral would be tonight for Edmonton, would it not?
It's usually the day after. If we
Day
kill him
after.
tonight,
Yeah.
we'll do it tomorrow.
I mean, if someone dies tonight, you're going to have their funeral, not tonight.
It's not usually the day after if we really want to
It's like a week
hone
later.
in on
Yeah.
Sometimes in the
it takes some time.
in the Jewish community, it is sometimes.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that what I'd like to do, even though Mike Ryan's going to get furious because it's going to infuriate McDavid and be a jinx, I'd like to now start planning us doing the funeral for the Edmonton
stop it,
Oilers.
man.
See, you heard funeral.
Every time
and you just-
Kachuk wears black for one of these games, we always end up losing.
Yeah.
Just stop. Let's try to win this one.
Game 7 would be so good.
Oh, stop it.
Enough!
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat from the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go out, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
A year ago at this time, almost exactly to the day, we sent Tony Kaladiud out into Miami to go find all of the buzz around the Florida Panthers possibly winning the championship. He failed to find anyone around our building. It was not a successful venture, so we've recruited a slightly better Tony at man on the street stuff to try that again today to celebrate the possibility that the Panthers will be back-to-back champions. But, of course, Stugotz, I come in here and Izzy and Jeremy and Mike are just yelling at each other about Kevin Durant. They're just yelling about the idea that Simmons says a deal to San Antonio is already done. Zaslow saying the fact that the Miami Heat are even in this discussion suggests that it's where Durant most wants to go. And I remember quaintly a time in sports when the player wanting to go somewhere made a difference. But Minnesota is now in play. Somehow, even though Minnesota's pretty close without Durant, probably doesn't want to break up its core for Durant in any meaningful way. And also, Durant has no interest in living in Minnesota.
The larger problem with the NBA is the NBA Finals are going on, and no one seems to care, even the people who are covering the NBA
That's
Finals.
not true. Really?
And we're
That's not
talking
true.
about a 37-year-old who's not going to make a difference in terms of a team winning a championship. I'm sorry.
I think you're just individualizing your experience and projecting it out. I think people that like basketball are into this NBA Finals.
Although less so with Halliburton hurt, just because that's a crusher of an injury. I wanted to ask you guys, I want to get into this. Do you know a coach who has the strength to go with McConnell the rest of the way in that spot? Do you know a coach who would sit his star player who's clearly hurt and cannot drive and just say, Halliburton, you're not playing anymore in the most important game of our season?
Any coach after 2019 with a calf injury.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It's a calf injury, and he's trying not to ruin him for next year, so you got to be very, very delicate with him.
Also, I'm going to lob a complaint. We were not yelling. We were not fighting. I could not have been calmer when I asked Jeremy Taché, does a Khalil Ware grow on trees? And the answer may surprise you.
The answer is yes.
A 7-footer with the mobility to guard a lot of people, but not everybody.
They're entering the league at an astonishing pace. Honestly, it's made Bam even less valuable because he created a template that a lot of people are following. So if you want these big, really tall guys that are rangy defenders, that are smart with the ball in their hands, that can set other people up, but maybe not be a total star, certainly not an alpha, they're entering the league more. People see Bam and they're thinking differently. It's like how Europeans said, I don't care if you're 7 foot. We're going to shoot. You're going to shoot outside. The game has changed a little bit, and to potentially, even though I don't necessarily think it comes to this, because I think when you look at the other teams, the Rockets and the Spurs, they have more to offer. If they wanted Durant and the Heat want Durant, they could put a better package together.
Well, there's also this part about Houston, though. It's the idea of how badly do they want to break up not just the core, but how they operate, right? Like, yes, they need a closer. Durant's your closer. Yes, if that's how you're thinking of it, cool, bring him in there.
They need a veteran, too.
They do need a veteran, yeah. But, they're running everything around Şengün. They think Amen Thompson is a corner piece of that franchise. And so I don't know how much they really want. Hey, let's get Kevin Durant here. Let's try to win a championship within 2 years and stunt the growth of everybody else.
Let's get back to Stugotz's original point, because I don't agree with him that nobody likes this series. But even Adam Silver is saying, when horrified by the ratings, hey, we're selling a lot of stuff locally in the cities that are in the finals, which doesn't sound great. What are you laughing about, Mike?
Did Stugotz write on that whiteboard?
Yeah. I didn't write it.
You
I
didn't?
mean, whoever wrote it's in trouble.
If you don't subscribe to God Bless Football,
You get it.
The word
it's one
bribe
letter
had
away.
to find its way in there somewhere.
So God Bless Football is an
Fuentes.
emerging titan here that is expanding in a lot of ways for Stugotz and Billy. And we suggest, where can we find on StuTube, where can we find all things, both God Bless Football and Stugotz, as you continue to build out your empire?
On StuTube and wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can.
it's youtube.com/@Stugotz790.
It's
Well,
wrong.
thank you, Mike.
It's wrong to ask Stugotz this question, because when he says on StuTube,
I'm just churning out content, baby.
But when you say
that's it.
on StuTube, it helps no one find it.
youtube.com/@Stugotz790.
Please subscribe.
There.
How do you not know this?
It's not my job to know.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's your job to promote it.
It is, yeah. We're doing fine. Thank you to everyone who's supporting us.
I mean,
Yes.
imagine how much better you'd do if you knew the handle.
How do you spell subscribe?
The Kevin Durant thing that I want to talk about with Stugotz, because I began to have sort of this discussion yesterday when I was just talking about acquisitions, trades, and how obsessed we are with them, so that on a day that Desmond Bane, or a weekend that Devers and Desmond Bane get traded, the trade is less interesting to us than where's Giannis going? Where's Kevin Durant going? And when you talk, I want to give the stat again that I gave yesterday, because it's not a small thing. I understand, Izzy, the way that people are saying the last year of Kevin Durant, that's what it's going to be for Kevin Durant wherever he ends up because he's old. But it simply ignores that when he's scoring 25 points on 50%, he shot 53% from the field last year, more than 40% from three, that him and Jokic are the only offensive players who can do that. You, Mike, underestimate Bam when you say there are a lot of them. There are not a lot of Bams who can guard all five of your guys.
Right.
Ware can't do it, and he's not going to grow into being someone who can do it.
How many elite players in this league or in the prime of their careers get paired with a young all-star wing and finish 10th in the East? How many? You know what he is. You know what he is.
Okay, you can say all this. He was also the second best player on a team that got very close to the Eastern.
And he's allergic to actually making the playoffs as a standard seed. He always has to go through the play-in. That is not a sustainable business model for the Miami Heat.
He doesn't always have to go through the play-in. The last few years of Butler's aging, he had to go through it. I'm not alleging that Bam's a number one. I'm also not alleging he's a star. What I'm saying is he doesn't grow on trees. The ability to guard five guys is still not something that exists in this league. Draymond can do it, and Bam can do it, and not a lot of other people can do it.
We're seeing, though, in the league, more and more people are entering the league that can do this. And what I'm saying is, fine, he's not a superstar. Is he a really good number two? If he can't be paired with a young all-star wing and do better than 10th in the East, that is a legitimate question. Now, here's some pro-Heat propaganda for you because this is an interesting thought exercise.
Wait a minute. I don't think that you can do this, though, to Bam and not do it to Kevin Durant. If you're going to do it just team play, it can't be Bam's a 10 seed and Durant's out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
I want Durant, but not Bam.
Plus, Bam was a 1 seed with an all-star guard next to him.
Understood. With one time with Jimmy Butler. But we've seen when you strip Jimmy Butler away what the ceiling is for this team potentially, and it ain't great.
But it's also the style of player. Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant are two wildly different players who probably Kevin Durant fits better alongside Bam. And I thought we were talking Khalil Ware's growing on trees.
I understand.
Not Bam.
I want to keep my eye on the ball here. Here's the pro-Heat propaganda. If you want to do this thought exercise, is you could make the argument, well, who's better in the East with their top three? KD, Bam, Tyler Hero. Get me a better three. Now, it's a cheap trick that I'm playing because I'd take New York's. The gulf between the third player is probably wider. But if you look at Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, you'd say I'd certainly take their two. You look at Siakam and Halliburton, you'd say I'd take their two. But you can't necessarily figure out who the third is. So if you look at the top three, you're like, yeah, I like my chances in this Eastern Conference. And I've heard that from a lot of Heat fans.
Obi Toppin was the third last night. Jalen Williams did something last night that I don't know if it surprised the national audience or newcomers, but 40 points in a playoff game is not something Dirk has done, is not something the mailman has done, is not something that Kawhi has done, is not something Larry Bird has done, is not something that Karl Malone, did I mention the mailman? Like this, these are giant names that haven't gone 40 points in a game. And that wasn't as important last night as Halliburton's hurt. And so if you're only getting good games from Siakam and Topping, and you get in a situation where you allow more points on turnovers than you have all season in a game. The Pacers haven't allowed that many points off of turnovers because they're good at protecting the ball. And that's the first game in this series that has been played exactly the way Oklahoma City wants to play it. The first 4 games of this series, I told you yesterday, I thought that Carlisle had done an exceptional job coaching because I didn't recognize OKC. Like they're turning the ball over and not causing turnovers, and they had 3 of their first 4 worst games of the season in this series.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Pacers do in Game 6. Izzy, if Halliburton is still limping around there and you're Rick Carlisle, do you have to start T.J. McConnell? Like, do you owe it to your team to start the healthiest guy to give your team the best chance to win, and you're at home?
I think start him, but go to him earlier, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you go to your best player. You give him the best opportunity to give you valuable minutes, whether that means the opening minutes before he gets, cooled down or whatever, or whether that means coming off the bench, whether that means shorter stints like Dan is saying. I don't think you have to necessarily make a big change. I do think the one thing that you have to hammer home is value the basketball. This was the difference in the Warriors when they were great Warriors and when the rest of the pack can meet up with them. The Pacers feel like they don't value the basketball enough, and if you can just cut down some of those silly turnovers, then a 2-point game in the fourth quarter, you might be up 10.
But are you saying they didn't seem to value it last night? Because in this series, The thing that I've been most surprised by is that OKC cannot and has not been able to play the way that it wishes to play. And last night, even with Halliburton gone, 8 minutes left in the game, they're down 2.
Right.
On the road, when Jalen Williams is going crazy and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going crazy, Chet Holmgren is giving you nothing. You're not getting much of anything else from a whole lot of players who are inexperienced in this spot, and it couldn't be taken advantage of by another team that's also inexperienced in this spot.
What I'm saying, Dan, is the phrase you hear all the time in basketball is good offense will beat good defense every time. And so if the Pacers run good offense, and that means valuing the basketball, that means not going 3 straight possessions with a turnover, a live ball turnover. That's just not, again, valuing the basketball. That was, like I said, when Steve Kerr really wanted his team to really press and really focus in, that's what the point was. If you don't turn over the basketball, we've got a great shot at scoring it or getting an offensive rebound or something like that. And there's just stretches in that game. That Oklahoma City defense has been the same from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 to game 4 to game 5. It's the Pacers when they play kind of willy-nilly and wild, they play into that defense. That's when the Thunder go on their runs.
Can you find for me, please, willy-nilly? I just need to know where that started, the origins, the history of willy-nilly, why it. Can anything be willy without being nilly? Can it be nilly without being willy?
All great
Wednesdays,
questions.
yeah.
The part about this that's disappointing from a sports fan perspective is if we're having the conversation of whether or not TJ McConnell should get the 30 minutes, the series is done.
But he's so good. You see what he does in his little minutes. Why can't he just do more of
He
that?
has to do it in the little minutes. He can only do it in the little minutes. If I give him a full game
How do you know?
If
I
I
mean-
give him a full game of that, I'm not going to look. He's gotten used to the role of giving me a couple of minutes that aren't willy-nilly.
Yeah, but we used to say that if you give any guy 40 minutes, he's going to get you the numbers, right?
Well, no.
No, you've said that before.
You oversimplify all of my points with absolutism, and
I like to do that,
You
yeah.
did it with that one too.
So it looks like the meaning has evolved because it originates from Middle Ages, will ye or nil ye, basically whether you want to or not. And now it's taken on the evolution of someone being careless.
I am told now that we are ready to go to Tony Reale, who doesn't have a bounce house on him anymore, but is just sort of
Not yet.
hovering around our orbit, searching for Panthers fans and trying to immerse South Florida in both positivity and the audience in the buzz of a championship town.
The pulsating heart of South Florida right now, beating as hard as it possibly can with Panther. Look behind me right here. We haven't found it yet, but we are going to find it here in the hotel lobby, I'm sure of it. I was just thinking, Dan, and I know Israel's there too, my man. Can you send me up? I'm hoping to get this a sponsored bit here, okay? So, Israel, give me a are you sure? Positive. That's our bit here. Come on, work with me here. Let's go willy-nilly here into the fray here. We're trying to sponsor this bit. Are you sure? I'm positive. That's what this segment's going to be. I'm positive we're going to find some Panthers fans. That's what I'm trying to say here. So, on the press.
Are you sure?
I am positive. Oh, I almost went down right there. That would be good radio. All right, so here we are. And look at this guy. I mean, this might be Barkov. I don't know. Panthers fans.
That
So
is
you guys
not
are
Barkov.
Panthers
Are you
fans?
sure?
Anybody?
Not
at all.
Barkov.
No. Formula One? A little bit. Formula One fan.
I don't
all
know
right.
too much. I
Not too
mostly
much.
just
Where you
like my
from?
hat. I'm from D.C., but I live in L.A. now.
I'm Tony Reale. I'm very positive. Hello, how are you? I'm still Tony Reale. Nice to meet you guys. You guys have a wonderful day ahead of you, right? Yeah. You make sure she sits in the front seat. You sit in the back. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
That wasn't
you know-
Panther talk, and you asked him. You went straight to F1.
No,
I could feel it. I mean,
well, he was wearing. Look at that guy. That guy with that. Oh, there we are. That's right. Yes, Panthers. Right? Florida Panthers today? No? Where are you from?
Paraguay
Paraguay.
for Boca Juniors.
Oh, you're Boca Juniors.
Yeah, a bunch of Boca
Well,
Juniors fans
we
here.
came up with a squad that was the Panthers Juniors, and they were kind of like a combination. Do you think the Boca Juniors could get on ice and play hockey?
No.
No. Yeah. Paraguay play hockey at all? Ice hockey?
Paraguay.
Have you ever been to a
Paraguay.
hockey game in your life?
Yes.
Okay, you have, because the Dan Le Batard Show is ready to give you ringside seats for tonight's game.
That's not.
Wow.
That is
Not
not true.
Really?
That's not true. in any way.
That's not
boxing,
true?
isn't it?
Okay, no, I was actually trying to move things along.
I can't believe
I
you said
am not
ice.
sure. Okay.
Farrah, why would you
Thank
offer
very
him that?
much. Thank you very much.
He has
Yes.
to pick his favorite child, though.
All right, guys. We are feeling pretty good about the energy in this room right now. Look at this
We
young
are?
lady right here. I see you.
What
Yes,
energy.
yes. Are you a Florida Panthers fan? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Go Panthers.
Yeah, all right.
That's all we need.
We found a.
Hoist the Stanley Cup.
Pantalones.
Yes. Yes.
And what are we doing here? Hello, my name is Tony. Hi, I'm still Tony. And it was wonderful meeting you.
That's his line.
Are you guys touring the facilities?
I work here.
You work here.
Yeah. Gigi, and they are owners that have an apartment here.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've been to the pool. Lot of Panthers fans in the pool. We're gonna go up to the pool right now and see the Panthers fans in the pool. Dan, that's what I got right now.
All right, but hold on,
okay.
Tony.
I'm really
Tony,
working.
I feel
Yes,
like the person who works there might have been a bit fraudulent about how big a Panther fan she is. Would you like to
Okay.
ask her
Yes.
any sort of Panther questions? Just it's very
Yes,
simple,
yes.
like who her favorite players
Name
are.
a Panther. Yeah.
Who is your favorite Panther player, and what do you think of the third line tonight?
Yeah.
You got me.
Okay, it's okay.
That's all right.
South
All right.
Florida is
Stugotz can't
fine.
answer that question either.
That's okay.
I'm going to work with her on
That's
that.
fine. South
but
Florida-
I do feel very positive
I wish she said
that the
Belinkus.
pool is going to be the pool's going to be a
Go to
hotbed.
yes, go to the
for
pool.
Panthers
It is
fans.
literally a hotbed. Go up there.
Gadjevich, actually.
That was about the most enthusiasm we got for the Panthers. There was faked, insincere
really set me up
enthusiasm.
You're in a hotel.
But I'm going to
in
find
downtown
the
Miami.
positivity. You set me up. I know what you did, but I'm going to find the positivity in this town no matter what, Dan. I'll be
Thank
back.
you. We will check back in with you.
Go to
Chris
Sawgrass
is loving
Mills.
this. Chris is absolutely loving
Go
this.
to the Oasis at Sawgrass Mills. That's Hockeytown, USA.
He's an hour away. I mean,
the Club World Cup's in town. They're all Boca Junior fans here. You need to go to Boca, not Boca Juniors.
Chris, why are you pulling on your shirt?
No, that was just. They didn't give Tony a lot there.
Well, welcome to South Florida. Welcome
Yep.
to Hockeytown. Do you realize how much it enrages Edmonton that this is happening down here? How do you guys realize how bad Canada feels right now, given its relationship presently with the United States, that this is the team taking Edmonton's trophy? This is the town.
I mean, you're in a tourism hub right now.
Right.
Listen, there aren't born and raised Panther fans here. But you're in a hotel. Everybody's from out of town. They don't care about the Florida Panthers.
Mike, do you think if I wandered around Tampa the last few years of championship runs, that's what I'd be getting all over the hotel lobbies?
If you went to St. Pete in a hotel, yeah. I think you'd run into a bunch of people that are like, what's the Lightning? What is hockey?
From the ones who work at the hotel.
From the ones that work in the hotel, maybe not everybody.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, you cherry pick one person, that poor lady.
She said "Go Panthers,"
Yeah,
which
she's-
was all
that's
she
all that
needed to
matters,
say,
yeah.
and we needed to do the follow-up.
Did you
We
really
didn't need a follow-up.
Did you really name 3 songs to that poor
Yeah.
lady? Like, I mean, you name 3 songs.
How about Tony go and name 3 players on Boca Junior?
ooh, I like that.
There's an S.
Do you?
Boca Juniors.
There you go.
I don't think asking her about the line of Listerine, Lundell, and Marchand
You're flexing, look
is
at you.
fair. I don't
Wow.
think that's fair. I don't think
That's how good they've been.
Dan knows him.
Yeah. I mean, it took me 5 years to get E2's last name down, and I still swap Lusterinen.
In keeping with that conversation, though, and the conversation from yesterday, because I believe that we've done a disservice to what Brad Marchand has actually done in these playoffs by, when we talked about it yesterday, talking about greatest trade deadline acquisitions ever throughout sports. We grabbed a whole bunch of pitchers. The guy who holds the ball in his hand and can control the entire game with the ball in his hand. Do you know how strange it is to have Brad Marchand become David Cone, CC Sabathia, or Randy Johnson because he plays on that line? Like, because you can't control a game from there when you're the type of player that Marchand is at 37, and yet he's controlling. He's got 10 points and 10 assists in 22 playoff games, which is nuts.
To have a team that's been to back-to-back Stanley Cups, now 3 straight, that is coming off winning their first Stanley Cup, and to add a piece at the deadline, and that piece becomes your best player in the postseason, that is rare.
Or
you were
one,
right.
or
yes.
one of your best
Right.
players. And so I associate forever. When I think of postseason playoff runs I didn't expect. I still go back 30 years to grab Mark Lemke's name because he was a second baseman for a Braves team that was loaded everywhere except at second base. And he hit 400 over a playoff run, and it's who I think of when I don't believe we're giving proper reverence to the historical context of what Marchand is doing. Because it's happening right now for a team that won a championship without him, I don't think we're properly representing what this story will mean to have this person win a championship at this age as possibly the best player when he's the Rat King and no one likes him.
I thought the best comp was Clyde Drexler because he came into that Houston team that had already won one, was a respected guy on the tail end of his career, actually performed and had a huge role in that championship, and now will forever be remembered, not just because of that, because he did go to the University of Houston and was Phi Slamma Jamma, but those two connected will make him forever a Houston, legend, and it was a trade deadline acquisition.
Who are the names that you guys associate, though, with what I'm talking about on Lemke, where it's a guy that you remember forever because of what he did in a postseason, but wasn't that kind of player? Now, Marchand is an excellent player and has been the entirety of his career. I wouldn't say he's Drexler. I wouldn't say as a comp.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Brad Marchand was one of the faces of the league, so it's comparable, I think. Mark Recchi did something similar for Carolina, although Marchand scored more goals. Mark Recchi was this veteran piece on his way to a Hall of Fame that came to Carolina and helped win them a championship.
Do you guys associate? Is there anyone and I know Lemke's an obscure and an old name, but is there anyone?
Lemke batted like 240 for his career. Postseason was like 280.
He was like an NLDS MVP, right?
It wasn't just,
yeah, I think he was.
But just Stugotz, look at the postseasons against Pittsburgh. There was a 3-year run where Lemke hit like 400 in the postseason and was just a sheer absurdity. And I know Carlos Beltran has done some stuff like that, but Beltran's an otherwise great player. And Marchand and Drexler are also great players, but Marchand at 37, so expendable that you got him for nothing. Marchand is no longer considered a great player. Mike opened the playoffs by saying he's a bad player.
Yeah, I was wrong about that.
Players that age aren't important in that sport. They're not pivotal pieces.
They become better when they're surrounded by better players. He's free to do what he can do. He's free. Like, you think you were saying the other day, Mike, that somebody like Samiskevich could have, had this type of run. Wouldn't have had the same confidence. Wouldn't have had the same experience. Wouldn't have been able to jump between those players and get that goal there. That's all Marchand just being a vet.
And it's clear Mackey is not playing because of what he lacks defensively. And Brad Marchand has shown you on the forward check he can be pretty valuable. He's been outstanding for them.
No names to pair against Lemke. I don't blame you. I'm
David Freese.
I've had that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I've had some problems finding the comp that I'm looking for.
Well, based on what you're saying, doesn't it have to be a little longer? Doesn't Marchand have to be here for a little while longer to have multiple runs? Because that's what I'm hearing from Lemke, right?
The thing that I'm saying is that we are presently watching someone who's cementing legendary status for the next 20 years if this ends the way that it looks like it's going to end. And I'm just not used to, in my entire history, covering sports in this market, whether there's a standing ovation because all of a sudden you've acquired Mike Bibby and you think he's going to be the missing piece.
Desperate times,
man.
In
my entire history covering sports in this market, I'm trying to find a comp locally or nationally for what I'm presently watching.
Ray Allen, I think, is a good one, especially coming from Boston, guy later in his career, stepping up in big moments, although no one was doubting Ray Allen's ability to remain good, and everyone thought he would be really superlative in that role, which he turned out being, and South Florida embraced him immediately. I embraced Ray Allen from the jump, but he did come from Boston, so I think that's a good one. You mentioned Brad Marchand's age, and surrounding older players with young, excellent players the way that the Panthers have on that third line, we're actually seeing it on the other team. Corey Perry's much older. Corey Perry's 40 years old. This is a former Hart Trophy winner in the NHL. He was a very good player last year, thought to be done. Because of the injury to Hyman, Corey Perry, who's vacillated between third and fourth liner, all of a sudden gets first line minutes, and he's having an outstanding playoff for Edmonton.
We've got Sam Amick of The Athletic reporting that Durant wants to play for San Antonio specifically. And the reason I keep going back to Durant, beyond it being interesting, obviously, locally, is because I believe any analysis of last night's game and that series ends with Halliburton's calf situation. Like, that's just a really disappointing end to everything that has happened there. If Halliburton can't be healthy, they don't have a chance to win a Game 7 at OKC. Never, I expect them to get extinguished in the next game. I expected last night's game to go about the way that it did, which was OKC leading wire to wire, but I expected that series to also be easier, and my confidence in my analysis was shaken by the fact that the first 4 games of that series were played exactly the way Indiana wants to play them.
Mark Aguirre to the Pistons in 1989.
Oh, that's
that
a good
was
one.
A huge trade.
They needed a scorer. Yeah.
Okay, we've got Reali checking in here, and for some reason I just saw his abs. They're good abs, and
he's on a train track.
Hey, that's Izzy's. Get your own gimmick.
Make sure we had this shot. I know, Israel.
Got to roll up the pants. Roll up the pants a little bit.
Hold on, Tony. Before you start, I need to explain to people that you are laying on actual train tracks the way Izzy did shirtless.
Oh, these are real train.
Yes,
these are real train.
That's a real train.
Dan called those pictures gay.
Okay, well, I'm in pursuit of Panthers fans, and I can feel like they're pulling into the station right now. But at the moment, I found some railroad tracks, and I just needed to do this for Israel. So I need to get my cues right, Israel. What is it going to be for my photo shoot? Arm over here. How much are you flexing when you take that photo?
Tony,
back then, very little.
Tony, this is not a place to find Panther fans. We can't find Panther fans on the train track.
All right. Well, all right. So I have a good feeling we're going to find them on a history tour. Well, there they are. They're all going. That's Edmonton going to the hospital because they're on. They're a DOA for tonight's game or something. I got them right. Okay. All right. So I have a good feeling we're going to find them when we get to the port. So that's what we're doing here. That pool was dead anyway. So we're going to go get some Panthers fans. We'll get back to you. But
okay.
Let's just do a picture-to-picture. Israel on tracks versus me on tracks.
Thank you.
Who wore it best? Thank you very much.
Tony, Bayside across the street's full of Panthers fans.
Yep. Go find them.
Yeah, go
Bayside?
Yeah.
All right. But
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
There's not going to be
Pretty sure
everywhere.
Pretty sure we
Yeah.
get kicked out there every time we bring
There's a
camera
Hard
there.
Rock Cafe
Panthers fan?
over there.
Panthers fan? Panthers tonight? When the Panthers score a goal, what do we do? Oh, let's go! No.
Tony, you got to get interactions for the audio audience. It's funny as video, but we've got to get the sound of the person talking as they
They're
ignore
not saying anything.
as they ignore you.
They don't know what he's saying.
I can speak Italian. I can't speak Spanish, and I don't think
Jesus
that
Christ.
gentleman spoke English.
Dom
so-
Toretto just
I
sped
almost got
past
one
you.
over here. Yeah, I know, man. All right, we're doing all right. We're going to get them. We're gonna
Okay.
get them. I'm positive.
All right, yes. Continue to be positive. Spread
don't get hit by a car.
positivity
Don't get
all
hit by a
over South Florida. Don't get hit by a car.
Head to the burbs.
Go back to the pool here in a couple of hours. It'll be jumping by then. It's a little early. Everybody's still sleeping in South Florida.
Watch yourself, bro.
Nobody's got a job. It's all Bitcoin and
They
fraud.
just stay at nice
It's all-
hotels.
it's just everybody's sleeping in because it's Bitcoin fraud, and they all snorted it last night. And there's nobody out thinking about hockey now. That's what's happening. And look at him; he's walking in a bare. This is also what it would look like.
I mean,
if it was an apocalyptic
you
Miami.
sent me out here. I was expecting to see people. I'm not even talking to you
it's-
at this
Las
moment.
It's dystopian out there.
Maybe.
This is how it would look if there were no people in a zombie universe in South Florida. Where is everybody?
This is Danny
I
Boyle.
want to get on that.
Danny
Can I get
Boyle
on
in
that
28
truck?
weeks later.
I've always wanted to be on a fire truck. Can I get on that fire truck?
All right,
Really?
all right. We'll check back
All right,
in with
I
you,
got
and there are
nothing right now.
people
We'll come
around
back
you.
to
South Florida, as you can see, is the epicenter of the hockey world. This is just how it is in Canada. If they're up 3-2 with a championship defending champion hockey team, and Izzy, you are absolutely flexing that right arm.
My nipple is right by your ear.
That right arm is being flexed.
No. The photographer constantly told me to flex my abs, and I guess when you flex your abs, maybe you're flexing other stuff.
What was the diet when you were trying to prepare for that
I
photo?
mean, hell if I know. First of all, I wasn't really preparing for the photo. I was just living, and I had a friend who was a photographer. But the diet was a lot of protein and veggies and not a whole lot else.
Yeah, I don't imagine there were a whole lot of carbs being eaten. How did you decide on the railroad tracks? What was second place on where it is you were going to take that photo?
We were a little bit like Tony Reale, just kind of wandering the streets of Fort Lauderdale, and my buddy, the photographer, said, hey, lay down right there. And I said, okay. Another spot was just a big white wall that we stood against, and another spot was a pool. So just random stuff.
When you see it, you know it, right? Yeah.
Can we agree that Reale was a coward about taking his shirt off there? You can't recreate the photo if you're just going to lay there in a T-shirt.
I don't think Tony would look terrible doing that. He's pretty shredded himself.
But why didn't he do it? There was cowardice involved in not doing it. If you're recreating the photo,
I would say humbleness there was there.
Yeah,
you think humility?
Not everyone's down to just take off their shirt.
Right. Yeah.
When you look like Reale, though, like Reale does.
This is how peer pressure works. Yeah,
He's not just a piece of meat, Dan.
Right. Yes. And he's being compared to Izzy. I mean,
well, he is just a piece of meat.
I mean, that's a wild thing to just say.
Right. I mean, technically, I understand what
we
you're saying.
all are.
Right? Yes. We're all pieces of meat.
We're sacks of meat.
The thing that happened in this series last night that decided the championship is Indiana losing Game 4 when they hold OKC to 3 3-pointers. Like, that's the game.
Friday felt like the championship with that gut check.
Well, but this is what Barkley said yesterday that Zaz was making fun of when Barkley declared the series over at 2-2.
I mean, what's awesome is Indiana's going to have Indiana's going to have a great atmosphere to continue fighting for their season at a Game 6. I know Game 7's the best 2 words in sports. Game 6 is pretty awesome. I mean, it's pretty similar. You got a team fighting for their life and a team that doesn't want to go on the road to fight for their lives with an opportunity to win a championship. If Game 7 are the best 2 words in sports, these are a close second.
The second best 2 words in sports, a topic that's never been discussed before in sports radio.
I only remember 2 Game 6s locally in my life. It's LeBron and it's Ray Allen. I don't have any other recollections.
Game 6 Clay against the Thunder in 2016?
I meant locally. But yes, you're right. Clay shooting from half court down 9 to bring them back when it looked like they were going to lose at OKC is another great Game 6. But Game 6 is not almost like Game 7. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Game 6 almost exactly like Game 7?
I like
it's
my
a
hand
game
here.
away, Dan.
I like my hand here. I remember the last Game 6 that these 2 teams played. That was not fun. That flight cross North American continent. And I did have reports that that's the first time that these guys were kind of speaking it out like, man, did we blow this one?
But the series, both series, the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals, nothing's going to surprise you, right? Like if this series comes back to Oklahoma City, really?
Indiana winning would surprise
If they win at home and force a Game 7?
All right, that wasn't the question that you asked. You said nothing in these 2 series can surprise you.
I'm not-
Indiana's staving off elimination and going to OKC, winning in Game 7, that would shock me.
To your
I would
point,
not be
Dan,
surprised.
about Tyrese Halliburton and his injury. Like, we can point to every single playoff run almost and find a significant injury, right? Even those amongst those who have already made the finals. The NBA, and I don't think people really can wrap their minds around this enough, is an endurance sport. Like, it is a long regular season, a long postseason, multiple long runs back-to-back are always going to test your body to its ultimate limit. You've seen it happen to Jason Tatum. You've seen it happen to Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and now Tyrese Halliburton. It's a calf thing. He's got a couple of years now with deep playoff runs. Will it turn into an Achilles? I don't know, but it's all part of the tapestry. It's the entire picture of the NBA. It's always dotted with significant injuries because it's an endurance sport.
Can you tell me, Chris Cody, whether you have found anything to rival the second best 2 words in sports, Game 6? Is there anything better that we can say are the better 2 words?
If it's just 2 words, it's tough. I mean,
giant upset?
Sudden death?
Super Bowl, except I don't think we're allowed to say it.
People are saying extra innings, playoff hockey.
No, extra innings, please.
Extra innings.
The worst 2 words.
Kick that guy out of the party.
Playoff hockey is pretty good, 2 words.
I don't think Game 6 is that good.
This is awesome tonight. You don't want to go back to Edmonton. I know you do because you're a psycho and you don't actually care the way that we care.
That's not true.
You don't. No, it is gospel.
You said yesterday you want the Panthers to lose today.
I want the most drama in this series. I want them to do the hardest thing the best way because they're the best and because the skill that they have that I'm speaking of specifically. Because you guys tried to corner me on the idea that because of the way that I was saying it, you guys were saying that the fear is something you don't want. And what I'm saying is the fear is what makes it all more fun, more fulfilling, and it makes you feel more alive.
I mean,
You're wrong. Yeah.
If they lift the cup tonight, I'm not going to be like, damn, do you imagine how sweet this would have been if we were scared shitless for 3 days
I'm just
and
saying
flew to
it's better.
Canada?
It's
That
better.
would have been so much better. No, I want to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. I want to do it at home. I want to take care of this. I want to be considered one of the greatest teams in the history of this great sport. I want to get it done tonight. I also paid a lot of money on Game Time to watch it done tonight. And I'm going to see it done tonight, hopefully.
Understood. You're also going to remember last year's more than this year's. And it's not just because it was first. It's because it was Game 7. It was 3-0. Then it was 3-3.
No, shoot you down right now. Winning back-to-back does not happen often. No, we'll
You
remember the
them
back-to-back.
separately, because you're a fan of the team, not a fan of a season. You're going to have they're going to have little details and memories of every single one. Brad Marchand obviously being the lead memory right now.
Money, I do it based on time, proximity.
And celebrates the legacy of Norm Macdonald. Rest in power.
Norm Macdonald passed away. It was a surprise to many. He had kept his illness a secret for 9 years. And he was one of our favorite celebrity prognosticators because he did awkward comedy, uncomfortable comedy so very well. He would insult people to their face. There has not been and will never be a greater ESPYs than Norm Macdonald doing the monologue and actually cutting through all the mythological fame bullshit and actually going after people, going after the big, powerful celebrities in a way that the audience loved, and ESPN immediately ended and regretted and got him out of there, never to host it again. But he loved awkward. He was so good at awkward, and this is the thing that always impresses me, Stugotz, because the level of discerning among stand-up comics who are great is the highest form of critique or judgment, I think, in entertainment. And when they say someone's a good comedian, that person's a good comedian. Norm Macdonald is somebody who's getting reverence today from a lot of people, but other comedians will tell you what he did was really brilliant, was genius. We had our experience with him because he would tell these long, sprawling stories, and he told, most famously, a bad beat story that was just a killer because he was a gambler, but he was a bad gambler. And one of the reasons we wanted him as celebrity prognosticator is because he cared about it, but he was kind of a loser. And what says loser more than this bad beat?
One time I had a massive bet down. It was my last bet. I just said, I'll just bet all this. And then I got 2 aces. And and then I was like, I don't know if I have enough money, but can I get some credit, like from the casino to bet on this other ace? And they're like, no. And I'm like, does anyone else want to buy an ace? No, but everyone else there was betting small.
You were at a $5 table.
No, I don't like the. What the hell? I'm watching the draft.
What? Norm, what?
I was just watching the draft.
Okay, all right.
So, anyways, my 2 aces. I go, hit me. I have 2. You know what I mean? So I have to hit. So I have an ace and an ace. It's a 2. So I hit it.
Oh, no.
Because you couldn't split it. Here come the face
12. Boom. 22.
Oh.
So as obviously I would have had 2 21s. Instead I have 1 22.
Mike, I'm pretty sure I have this right. It was not draft day. It was like 6 months after the draft. Norm was doing that as an audio joke. Do you have a date on when that sound was from?
It was also in the morning. I mean,
he was watching an old draft
That's what
on one of the sport dedicated channels, either NBA TV or NFL Network.
I think he put it up as a prop. I think because he was on a sports show, he just wanted the interruption, the loudness, because he loved awkward so much. We talked to him about the ESPYs. I'm telling you, there's never been a crueler or cooler monologue than the one this guy did at the ESPYs because of how uncomfortable he made an assortment of people.
who was most upset with you after that night?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Really?
Did he say something?
Yeah, they told me, like after the show, they were there's this big party, and they were always like, all through the show, this party's going to be great. And then at the end, I go, where's that party? And they're like, I probably should just go back to the hotel.
That's how you learned that you were not invited to Ken Griffey Jr.'s party?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you remember most about that night? Is there one joke that you're particularly proud of? And you tend to be someone who doesn't, you don't do a lot of reveling in the past. You move on. But is there anything in particular that you are proud of there?
Well, Woodson won the Heisman that year.
It's a good joke.
And so I said, they could never take that away from you unless you kill your wife and a waiter.
It's so good, man. It's such a good joke. It really is. Stugotz, I was laughing because a lot of people were sending out video. He's funny across the decades. The bit that he did on Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, 10 days after his death, like walking the tightrope of too soon, but he did the joke so deftly, so well. He's like, imagine that. He died. Crocodile hunter. Killed by a fish. All the other crocodiles super mad. Like, did it deftly. I'm not doing it justice. The idea that he would be 10 days after someone's death. It was a beloved time.
Yes.
Everybody was still mourning that death, and he was able to do that.
Next up, TLS favorite Brad Williams.
This segment is presented by LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. Terms and conditions apply.
David Sampson of Nothing Personal will join us in moments here to discuss an assortment of different things. June Lee is reporting, how much do you imagine, Stugotz, that it costs right now to be a sports fan on average if you just want to get all of the subscriptions and streaming you need on average to watch the things the average sports fan wants to watch?
Like $17?
It's $17, what, a day, a month?
Just for everything, yeah. What's the number?
It is $4,000.
What?
So good.
$785. You have gotten so much better
A day?
at this game. Yes, no, a year. 4,000. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Cost of watching all the sports you want, over or under $4,785, because that hurts the consumer, the customer. The streaming age has created all sorts of oil wells for the teams, but they are really alienating their customer. What are you shaking your head about already, Sampson?
Revenue's down for the teams. What are you talking about? The lack of cable, the lack of local TV revenue in baseball is hurting teams, not helping them.
You're going to tell me that
$4,000? What are you talking
You're going to tell me the NFL and basketball are not being aided by new streams of money that allow them to have bigger and better television contracts?
Yeah, their revenues are up, and payroll is tied to revenues, so player payroll is up as well. It's totally tied into one another. And so are you talking about fans being hurt because they're paying more to watch games for the NFL?
Yeah, that's what he's talking
about. The consumer, which you just bypassed.
Yes.
You hate
Not
the
true.
consumer. You don't care about the consumer.
I didn't say that. I just don't want you to mislead. Now, if you're saying that you have to buy every single streaming package to watch every local MLB team or local NBA team, That's not a fair way to do the comparison, but I didn't see the article, but I doubt that's what you're saying.
I'm saying that if you want to be an average sports fan and just watch whatever Red Sox games because you live in Boston, this has been done by June Lee more scientifically than you're presently doing it, and he's come up with an average sports fan cost of to watch your teams. If you want to watch the things that sports fans are crazy about, it's almost $5,000 a year.
But am I getting anything else? Are you saying that for Amazon to watch the Yankees on Friday night, I'm doing Apple, but I don't watch anything else on Apple, just sports?
I'm also telling you, for the first time in my life, being a sports fan in this market, I have to pay extra to watch the Miami Heat and the Miami Marlins, and I made the decision not to because they acquired Terry Rozier, and I'm a man of principle. But also, that's probably undercutting it because as a soccer fan, if I like soccer in Portugal, I have to find another streamer that does that. If I want to watch Brazilian soccer, if I want to watch South American competition, I'm probably going well over $4,000. And if I want to watch it in HD or 4K, even more. It's super expensive to be able to watch all the sports that you want these days.
I'm sorry, what is your expectation? That you should just be able to get any sort of content you want for free?
That's what it's been. Like, what the reason
never had to pay extra.
The
to watch
reason you're
Miami
going to
Heat.
get this hostility is because you're now trying to charge something for you that you were giving away for free. It's why this show's not behind a paywall. We did not want to do that to our fans.
Well, consumers were never getting it for free. They didn't know it was on their cable bill, right?
Understood.
Isn't that fair?
Understood. I was paying for a cable package that gave me the RSN, but I still pay for that cable package, and now I have to pay an additional whatever to watch the Miami Heat and Miami Marlins. That's not something I've ever had to make a decision on.
What is David arguing here? Because all I said was the existence of the streaming services has made it so basketball and football have all sorts of extra sources of revenue. That cost has been put on the consumer. What do I have wrong?
It's happening. It happens in every industry across all time. Every company is looking to increase its revenue at the expense of the consumer, whether there's a fuel surcharge, whether you go to the grocery store and every now bag costs a nickel. When you rent a car, there's a car tax. In Miami, there's the hotel tax for tourists or for people who prefer to be on the hour. So this is not a new concept by any stretch.
All right, let me read this to you. In 2004, June Lee, he's a hardcore Boston fan. He would have spent $1,321 to follow his or her favorite team. That includes tickets, TV access, and merchandise. Today, 20 years later, that number is $4,785. That's a 262% jump. Wages during that stretch have risen 87%.
And June's a very good reporter. His whole new endeavor is speaking for the fan. I am sure he obsessed over this data.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sully his story or his data. I merely just want there to be proper context, which is to say that there have been increases. You say wages are up 82%. Exactly how is he calculating that? In what class? Is that an all-in, or is it just the wages of those who would spend the $1,000 20 years ago and have to spend the $4,000 today? I just want to make sure always that there's apples to apples so that we can then compare it to industries, what your car costs, what it costs to go grocery shopping, what it costs to go on vacation. I just don't want sports to be singled out.
You want it to be apples to apples so that the owners can own all the apples.
I'm not an owner. I never was an owner. I was a team president, and you loved saying that I'm all for the owners. I did something to the Red Sox today that already I have a problem. So I'm not exactly carrying the water for owners by any stretch.
Okay, by some stretches, you are carrying water for owners. It's not an absolutist of by any stretch, but let's play some video here and talk about the Boston Red Sox and their new ownership situation.
Our video just went down for a second. I'll give you a thumbs up when we got it.
Okay, so the Rafael Devers, that's good. Good timing on that. The Rafael.
Why is he laughing, Samson?
Well, he's laughing at our just situation. Video went down for a second. Like, that's not something that happens very often when you're watching major networks.
He had the stop sign up. You were running through it. We were about to go into a disaster.
Yeah, but he's not going to lament your polish or lack thereof.
Okay, no,
he's a team player.
Okay, so to be clear, we're not going to lament my polish. I'm supposed to know that this means nothing works.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Generally, that's all
right. I didn't have the universal
It's the same as
signal for
rounding
that.
third.
You would think we'd be
You're a
good
sports
at
fan.
me knowing.
Universal sign.
You'd think I'd be good at this point for knowing what the sign is for nothing around here works. works, but I'm not good at it yet.
There isn't a single facet of my life where 2 hands up mean go.
I'm being told we're lucky we're on air right now.
Yeah.
Historically, we should just assume it's not working.
Have you checked the news? We're lucky to be alive right now. So why don't you just chill out, bud? We're doing our best.
Don't you have someone in your ear, Dan? Isn't someone saying, all right, video, go? Or is it just
the funny
We
thing
just have
the funny
signs.
thing about it is the last thing that was in my ear was we've got the Devers video. Like that's but that
They
part-
have it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that part's unspoken.
No one
You haven't
updated
secured
it. No
it.
one updated
We
it.
know where it is.
Step one.
We know where it is.
I can go in the back and watch it if I want. I just can't show it to anybody else.
Text it to me. I'll play it from my phone.
You know what? I'm going to go look at it now. You tell me all about Stanton's return and Ohtani throwing 100 miles an hour. I'm going to go look and see if I can get that fixed real
All
quick.
on edge. It's game 6. The Cup's
I
in
do
town.
want to say one thing about Stanton because he played for the Yankees. I hope that your audience is, I don't know what hour we're in because, Chris, you completely threw me off because it's Tuesday. So I got vacuum noise in the background. I had extra shows today, so I'm sorry if you hear that background noise. It doesn't normally happen because it's supposed to be Wednesday. But are you aware, if this is local, how much the Marlins are paying for Stanton over the next 3 years?
No.
Nope.
So the Marlins are paying $10 million a year of Stanton's contract to the Yankees. Part of the trade that was done by Jeter when Jeter joined the Marlins was to move Stanton to the Yankees. And if Stanton did not opt out of his deal, which he did not, and it continued on, the Marlins gave $30 million, but it was so far in the future that Marlins fans didn't even think about it. But the future's today. The future has started. $10 million of your payroll, of the Marlins payroll, is not on the field for the Marlins. It's on the field for the Yankees. And returned last night after only 3 rehab games and went 2 for 4, hit the ball hard. Now, don't mention the fact the Yankees got shut out, 1-0 in 11 innings. The fact is Stanton is back.
Are they paying anyone on their roster $10 million?
Yes, Sandy.
Oh.
Sandy Alcantara makes, I want to say 17, Stugotz, and that they're trying to trade him, but he stinks so badly that they can't get anything other than Jordan Hicks, Harrison, like a number 4 prospect, and maybe another guy is the best they could get for Sandy, and they're trying to do better. Look at all those people trying.
All these people not wanting to let Dan down. It's really a blessing. He looks at this as a curse, when really, look at all that compassion.
I don't think there's enough cooks in the kitchen.
I trust the bald guy.
Why we have budget problems at Metal Art.
The bald guy
For those
can
of you
fix
not
it, man.
watching,
Get Ethan
there
out of
are
there.
You can
Third
tell
can't
Ethan's
possibly
acting.
be
Get out of
helping.
there,
The bald
Ethan.
guy can always fix it.
Ethan can't possibly be helping the situation.
Pass on.
Even as a body double, it's not working for me.
I
Get him
just
out of the
heard
picture.
Ethan say special board.
Special.
There are a lot of people, everybody in the company right now is working on getting this video fixed so that we can simply play for you the Boston Red Sox organization saying again and again that the problem that they had with Rafael Devers was one of alignment.
Right. 1-0 without him. I mean,
Given budget cuts, I'd posit that NASA doesn't look like that at the moment.
I'm calling in resources from all over. I'm asking Tony Reale to grab all Panthers fans in the region, bring them into the control room, and see if we can get the video running. David, what did you do to the Red Sox this morning on Nothing Personal that got them upset? And what do you make of this entire situation? A really fascinating trade for a lot of different reasons. One of the most interesting, I think, because it signals that the Boston Red Sox ownership group is now a clown show.
A clown show? A clown show? They've got the most trophies. This is your former guy, John Henry. They've got multiple World Series. We only got you 1. He went to Boston and got you a 4 spot. And number 2, the minute John Henry had to board his plane to Kansas City, game over. Devers was done. John does not like getting on a plane to Kansas City to talk to Devers. Total turd in the clubhouse, and they said it in their press avail. They just said it under the word alignment. They said it under the word atmosphere, roster flexibility. It's all a bunch of poppycock. What they were saying is we're not going to have someone as selfish as Devers getting paid as much as he's getting paid. And the Giants were willing to pay it all because they put the D in desperado. So send them there. See you later, and we'll reallocate the money and keep going. Thank you very much.
All right, I got a couple of questions. The D in desperado, where's that saying come from? Why did you use it there? And can you be careful with your language calling a human being a total turd?
So the expression actually is a baseball expression, and it's an inside baseball. That's the real problem you should have with what I did. It's turds in the clubhouse. And what you try to do is not have that. And the reason is that if you have too many and they're spread out in the clubhouse, they can actually infect players who otherwise would be great both off and on the field. And so you're monitoring that. And what the Red Sox came out and said yesterday is we've got a lot of good young players. And what we can't afford is to have those young players learn bad habits or learn not to be team players. And guess what? To do that, we are going to show that if you are not going to do what we say, goodbye. And they got David Ortiz to agree. Of course, he's paid by them. And he came out and said, hey, they're the boss. He got Garrett Crochet, who just signed an extension, I grant you, but got Crochet to say, hey, good night and good luck, Rafi. See you later. We're good from here.
David, as Marlins team president, I'm wondering, did you ever root for the Marlins to lose a postseason game because you wanted the series to come back home so you can make money for that game?
So no.
Oh, come
is
on.
the short answer.
Because I believe him because he would normally if you've got him on that one, he would be honest.
He's blushing a little bit.
No, he would go in and laugh at you. What his tell on this one has been when you've got him, he's like, "That's a great question, you got me," and then he answers it honestly. My guess is if he's ever rooted for his team to lose for a home game, he'd tell us.
No, and I would. The problem is we didn't get enough of the revenue during the playoffs. The rules in baseball is it's shared with other teams, all the other teams, Central Baseball. It's shared with the umpires. Everyone gets a piece of the action. So for me, it was more important to get to the next round because that would mean more revenue for us the following season and then the possibility of winning it all. But if you have a chance to win, you win immediately. Now, we played the maximum number of home games in 2003 that you can play.
Right.
But I would not have rooted to lose purposefully to get a home game. If you're saying that Oklahoma City is going to throw Game 6 in order to get a Game 7, I can assure you that is not the case.
What if you got all the revenue? Would your opinion change? You probably would have rooted for the team to lose.
It's a really big difference.
I know it is.
So Pro Player, as you know, was a really big stadium.
Yeah.
And so we were drawing sold out after the first wild card game against Frisco. We sold out every other home game. And so you're talking about millions and millions of dollars.
I know.
So the answer is if we got all the revenue, we would want the extra home game.
Would you, in Game 6, 2003, Josh Beckett's day, you're about to win the World Series. Did you ever think, man, I hope he blows this because winning in Game 7 would be so much more fun?
No.
Oh.
Not one time. Because
David,
once you win a World Series, you can ride that for the rest of your life. And I was sitting there watching saying, we're 6 outs away from me being able to parlay this into a lifetime gig. So, no, I didn't want to take the chance.
Who knows
David, just so that you know, according to June Lee's report, if you subscribe to every live service with sports, subscribe to YouTube, TV, MLB, NBA League Pass, NFL Sunday Ticket, Peacock, Apple TV Plus, Max, Amazon Prime, and Paramount, that alone is $2,600 a year. Just starting there. I thought
you get more than sports, Dan.
Understood, but if you want just sports and don't want the other things that aren't sports, you still have to pay for the sports.
I do not understand what you are saying.
You do understand what I'm saying.
It's a lot of money, dude.
Let's say you're just a sports fan and you don't want the studio from Apple TV. All you want is the games. That's what you have to pay to get all access to sports on television.
But there are things throughout life that you have to pick and choose what you can afford and what you want to spend your money on. And you make choices, which is why Apple wants to give you all sorts of other content of all shapes and sizes so that there's something for you that would be worth your while. So if your monthly cost for Apple TV, and I can't believe I'm doing a commercial for them, but if you're watching one original movie or one original show that you like and you get sports on top of that, it's already paid for itself in terms of your disposable income allocation.
I get what you're saying. We used to be able to get $30. So what? Now you get $2.
Okay. Can I do a quick economic primer here?
Oh, great.
In any sort of economy, when there is inflation, it causes things to inflate at different rates. What you are saying and what he is saying is that the price to the consumer has gone up more than wages, and because there is wage inflation as well. And what he's then saying is that makes it definitionally more unfair. And I'm arguing the opposite. Forget it, Dan. You can go back to your control room and lack a video because that'll be entertaining.
At Le Batard Show. At Le Batard Show. Put it on the poll. At Le Batard Show. Do you fall asleep when someone tries to give you a quick economic primer? At Le Batard Show. Time now to play.
Nothing will get you there.
This here is an attempt to humanize David Sampson as he alienates the customer by giving him a series of questions about human beings who have died. Would he attend their funeral? What do you have, Mike, first as a nominee?
Clark Spencer.
Oh, wow.
Miami Herald beat writer Clark Spencer, Greg Cody's close friend and horse racing syndicate advisor.
Important detail.
I like Clark Spencer. He was a good journalist.
Oh no.
If I were in town and in the same county, I would do it. But I wouldn't fly and I wouldn't drive far. But I would be sad.
So, but not one.
Same county.
But you wouldn't go one county. So if you're in Dade and he's being buried or there's a service in Broward, you're not getting in traffic.
Correct. But in the same county, I would go to that. That's a great call.
What in Rome?
Mike.
But he'd be sad.
Did you?
He'd be dead.
Did you go to the funeral of Juan Rodriguez, a former Sun Sentinel beat writer who did indeed die?
Yeah, he did. So a little thing that you can say that we did as a Marlins organization. He was a beat writer. He died with 2 kids, and we paid for his kids' complete education. We did a trust. We never told anyone until just now.
That's nice.
That is nice. Not what
just
I
FYI.
but it's not what I asked you. It's an FYI.
No, but I wanted you to know that we know him. We think about him. He was a reporter for the Sun Sentinel who tragically died with 2 young kids who are now, I assume, maybe out of college. But the trust was helpful to them, and I hope they're well. I did attend his funeral.
Wow, a big surprise there. So how many trusts like that have you created quietly over the years that people don't know about because they don't think you're a human being?
More than you know this. So more than you know.
Oh, well, that's why I asked.
Yes.
If I knew,
I
would
say
ask.
that I'm currently the trustee to, I actually have the number, which is strange, but it was just tax time. So you have to have the number because the trusts pay taxes. I'm a trustee to 11 trusts.
Are those all Marlins related quietly
No.
trusts? Okay.
No, they're different trusts that have been created by people who wanted me to take care of it. Some were created for Marlins related things that I still am a part of, but there are all sorts of different reasons. Trusts are meant to protect people from themselves or to help people attain the best they can be. And all of them are for education or other such items that can be helpful to people.
Put it on the poll, please. Do you associate David Sampson with trust? Can you go ahead and put on the poll at Le Batard Show?
It's not going to work out well for him.
That's not going to work out well for him. What else? 11's a lot. How many of them are Marlins related? Do you not want to answer the question?
It's just, Dan, it's serious stuff in that.
It's a trust. It's in the word.
It's a fiduciary duty. You are responsible to help people.
Okay, you don't want to answer the
and
question.
so I take that extremely
Not
seriously.
what I
Put the
asked you.
D in fidouche.
Put the douche. in
Wait, you're
fiduciary.
a douche if you're a trustee?
You put
No,
the
not
douche.
you.
in
It was
fiduciary.
Dan.
No,
Dan.
David,
Like-
we're saying Dan.
Dan.
We're saying Dan.
Yeah. Omar Minaya.
He was just nice to me recently with something on Nothing Personal, and it got me thinking that I should think about whether I would maybe attend his funeral in case his name ever came up. But it can't make up for the way it was when he was an opposing GM. So he's still a no. And there is a way to go from no to yes, but it requires an amount of rehab that Omar has not yet done. So I'm going to stay with no.
Wait, did you just admit that this game is kind of infiltrating your life? You have interactions. You're like, I wonder if I would attend this person's funeral. How far does this person have to go?
Mike, this game started because I think about this stuff before the game started. I'm trying to sort of plan what my responsibilities
How many more good interactions do you need to have with Omar Minaya before you would attend his funeral?
It has to be like 8 in a row, and then death has to happen almost immediately after the 8th, because if it's all good interactions and then 30 years pass, I'm not going to the funeral. But at 8 good ones, then death.
Death right after.
Go.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, so David, so for you, does it start with you attending someone's funeral and they do something that you no longer attend, or do they have to do something to get you to the funeral? Like, if you just meet a person, you're going to attend their funeral or you're not?
Oh, no, I'm at a straight no.
Okay.
Everybody's at no.
So they have
The
to earn
question
your
is,
attendance. They don't lose your attendance.
Remember, Billy, it's all time for me. It's all about time.
We need to interrupt the proceedings right now in one of our most popular games because Tony Reale is ready, and he appears to have found Panther Central right here.
Wow.
Look at Tony Reale in the middle of South Florida. Yes.
Look at all that positivity.
My name is Casey Paquette.
Yes.
This is Casey.
Yes.
And look at the hat here.
We found them. We found them.
Are we on the precipice of a Stanley Cup championship tonight?
I believe so. I believe so. We're all going to stay up late and watch it.
Staying up late and watching it. Look
Whoa,
at this.
the biggest
Where
endorsement.
Are you guys
From Miami.
from? Where are you from?
Miami.
Miami. Yeah, look at this guy. Yeah, you see? So I found the positivity to you when the Panthers score tonight. What are we going to do? Oh, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes, when they take a 1-0 lead.
When they take a 1-0, you put me on a mission impossible. You said you had no shot. What do I got right here? I got a shot. Look at these beautiful people.
We want the cup. We want the cup.
Get him going, Tony.
We want the cup.
We want the cup. Let's go. We want the cup.
That's the next question. Want the cup. We want the cup. We want the cup.
Name a Panther.
Reale, ask the guy not wearing. No, not him.
How about we say the
Not
cup
him.
stays here? Because it's
Yes.
here. We got
He wants to say the cup stays here.
okay,
directing
Come
now.
over here,
All
my
right.
friend.
All right, good at
I
it.
know. No, this is for hockey. You grew up playing hockey. I know it. I know it. Bellingham, get over here. Okay. So, who's your favorite Panther?
all-time Scott Mellenby.
All right.
Ask somebody else, Tony.
Ask
Somebody
anybody
else.
but that guy.
Anyone else,
No,
Tony.
ask
Anyone.
anybody
I
else.
went to school and I watched him play. When I was going to school, he
All right, we got
was
it.
playing for the Badgers.
Yes. Okay. What's that? Come on now. Who's your favorite athlete then?
Oh, my favorite athlete, I say Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. Oh,
All
man.
right.
That one's loaded.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anybody predictions for tonight? What is the score going to be? Panthers, what? Edmonton, what?
9-0.
9-0. There it is.
They gave us an answer.
They gave us enthusiasm.
I was worried about 28-14, honestly.
All right, we're gonna find some more, but here we are, the heart of Miami here, a walking tour. Mr. Casey, one last word for the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, Panthers, it's probably going to go into double or triple overtime. That's just the way this series has gone. It's going to be great.
Dan's happy.
Hoist the cup here tonight.
Game 7.
We know you're a great road team, but also you're a great home team. So let's
Real quick, what did I walk into here? This is a walking history tour, the Magic City. What is this?
Yeah, so I do tours, and this is Miami-Dade College, and the college.
College.
Yes,
What's the mascot of Miami-Dade College? What's the mascot?
Sharks.
All right, the Sharks. Okay.
Reale, can you
Ask
just-
them if
What we're
David's
doing is
paying
we're
for any of
taking
their
a
college.
nice walk downtown, and we're looking at all the historic buildings and all the historic stories, and I'm sharing that with the class. So,
So Dan is telling me right now, if it is 9-0, he's paying tuition for the young man who got the who got the prediction score. Right? Is that right?
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
I
If
will
it is 9-0.
agree to that deal if it is indeed 9-0 tonight. I will agree to pay for his tuition.
I think you're safe.
Great score, but I'm not sure that Edmonton's going to go down that easily. So.
Tony,
Well,
do me a
enjoy your
favor.
tour.
Ask anybody
Yes.
other
Yes,
than
yes,
him
Dan.
to tell me what the Edmonton blank are.
Yes.
Ask anyone
All
there
right,
other
we have
than
one
him.
trivia question.
Yep.
One trivia question. This is not for a scholarship, but it could be for something else. The name. Look at everybody backing away. Are you getting them? Look at their feet backing away. Nobody wants the trivia question. Florida Panthers are playing the team from Edmonton. What is the name of the team from Edmonton? Oilers. My man.
Yes.
What's your name?
Hockey Town.
There he is. You see? Hockey Town, USA. Thank you very much, everybody.
Ask him to
Thank
name
you very
an
much. Be good-
Oiler.
Oh, yeah, you stop.
Oh, don't
You're
do
already
that.
paying
There
attention.
you go. It's
Samson's in charge of the trust.
Be good to yourselves and to each other. All right, guys. We're here.
All right.
We're going to go to the firehouse right now. I'm going to ride the pole. or something
Okay,
like that.
get over
So,
there.
all right.
Thank you. Be careful with that
Crazy.
high pressure air over there. There's a lot of high pressure air over there. We will come back to Tony Reale in a second. David, I don't know if go ahead and cue that happy music again because I want to continue that.
What is that about high pressure air? What is that?
High pressure system?
No, they're behind him. It said warning, high pressure air on the truck in giant letters.
Cliff Floyd.
Oh, wow.
Cliff Floyd's a good one.
He has to.
No, we've had some recovery since he claims we didn't tell him he was going to be traded, and he was very anti me, and we had a problem. But we lived together in the same neighborhood for a long time up in Broward, and so there was an amount of recovery that then went away, and so then the clock got reset. So I'm back to a no.
How about Al Avila?
No.
All right.
How about Izzy Gutierrez?
Ooh.
Well, that depends on a few things happening here in the next few months or years.
Oh, Jesus.
But I would say that he's gone from a no-chance toilet pants to a definite possibility. But again, as an example, were it to happen now, yes, of course. We're all at Metal Art together. We're teammates.
Just so you know.
I didn't hear you,
He lives
Izzy.
in Fort Lauderdale, just so you know. That was
No,
him.
but you're a coworker, so no matter what, I would attend your funeral.
You're worth a
But
county. Yeah.
yeah, you're worth multiple counties. Not and even a flight, because I would fly to Florida to do that for Izzy. But if Izzy dies when he's supposed to, in his 90s or 100s, I would assume we won't be coworkers, and probably that would turn into a no. So that's a yes to a no.
David, we have 4 minutes left, and I do want to crank through some things here quickly. So let's just play now that video does indeed work, and I'm not getting the stop sign from my third base coach. All of the times that they mentioned alignment as it referred to Rafael Devers while talking about what David is calling a total turd in the clubhouse.
Alignment. We couldn't find alignment.
You failed to reach alignment.
It just was that alignment of complete alignment.
We weren't able to achieve that alignment.
You never want to be in this situation where you can't find alignment, can't get to alignment.
Failing to reach that alignment. I think I also shoulder a significant responsibility here, and failing to reach that alignment. Ultimately, as Sam has pointed out, this kind of lack of alignment, we failed to reach that alignment.
Came to the conclusion that we did not have a full alignment. We moved on.
Wow. A lot there. David, what are your thoughts? And just put back up on the screen the incredibly sad background of the second person in that video so we can see it defeated. Not that guy, the other guy. The sad alignment behind him, the misalignment behind him. He wants to simply promote what that is behind him, and instead we see that is an incredibly sad cubicle of concrete there in the bowels of Fenway Park.
No, so actually that's Craig Breslow, who is the chief baseball officer, who is with the team. That's the manager's office where they would do a pre and post game avail. So that is actually the backdrop that they're obligated to have with Mass Mutual as the sponsor.
But the rest of it, it's supposed to be a little closer, so you only get the back of it. But you mentioned Breslow, and I did find the reporting interesting on Carl Mosch, the player development guy who had been there since 2017, who got fired because he said of Breslow while getting off a Zoom at the end, he said, "Thanks, Brez, you bleeping stiff." And then he was immediately fired because he didn't know he was on a Zoom mic.
I'm sorry, Dan, with all the Zooms you do, if you were as the person in charge of the company, if there were a Zoom with your employees and somebody, when the Zoom was over, said, "Le Batard, that turd, I hate him," you would just be like, "Oh, see you tomorrow at 9?"
Happens all the time, and I don't fire anybody. I don't fire.
Well, that's a you issue.
Well, that's right. But look, you're asking me that question. You know I'm not going to do that.
But you were being critical of Breslow for firing that employee.
You're going to have David
lose
do
the
it.
rest of your staff if you don't fire that employee. Every one of them.
I won't
and
do
you'd
it.
have me
You'll
do
have
it.
to do
He
it.
would have
Yeah,
you do
you
it,
have
yeah.
to do it. I don't fire anybody.
I'm right, Stu.
That's correct. What do you think I keep you around for? Let's crank through these. You guys want to do this again?
Burke Badenhop.
Oh, the hopper.
I like the hopper. And I'd want to see whether it was an oversized casket because I haven't necessarily been to too many funerals of 6'5"ers. So that interests me because I always wondered if I'll be in a small casket because I don't want the extra leg room. So I may go just for casket sort of understanding and knowledge.
I've never thought of what he's presently presenting to us, and now we only have a minute left, so I can't get to Ohtani throwing 100 miles an hour. I can't get to Stanton. I can't get to
We got to Stanton.
to the Knicks. I can't get to Stephen A. Smith playing
Iran.
solitaire. But I can get to David's casket. You can't put him in a regular-sized casket. It would look ridiculous, correct?
He's sliding all over the place.
Yeah, he would take issue with paying full price.
No, it's not that. I just don't want to be stapled down. I want to be like you're on a ride, like a carnival ride. I like a casket that I fit in.
But it would just sort of be it wouldn't be a regulation casket, right? It would be
Would it be funded by tourist tax dollars?
By people who use hotels by the hour, yes.
Do you think you're going to be riding roller coasters in hell? I mean,
that would be fun. But I'll see you there, Stu.
Yes, you will. And we'll both see Art Briles. How about that?
See you guys later. See you later, David.
Always funny.
At Le Batard Show, put it on the poll, please. Does it sound fun to ride a roller coaster in hell? Yes or no?
You just experienced being a 6-foot whatever man. Now put that in a 4-foot man as I'm trying to cross the street last night, looking at certain puddles going, this could be it. This could be where I go because the water was moving very fast. I forgot my floaties. I can't swim. I have a very large head that sinks. I have a very fat butt that floats. That's not good for swimming. I'm very nervous. Florida is not a good climate for me.
He instantly goes upside down.
I do. I turn into a fly girl in a club, just face down, ass up, like that's me, instantly in a puddle. Here lies Brad, killed by puddle. That could happen.
Brad Williams makes me laugh all the time, but rarely as much as when he's greeting Mike Golick and they are doing that shoulder handshake, and Mike Golick has to get down and Brad Williams has to climb up. Why didn't you just go in for a straight handshake
Because
to say hello?
Because then I nut tap him. Because if I go straight handshake, there's the possibility. And by the way, how much, Gojo, were you just holding back? 'Cause you're like, if I go full shoulder into this guy, he may evaporate into Skittles.
I was more thinking on if I went to pull in because we went the dap with the hug.
Yeah.
And so there's that pull in the middle, and I was like, are we going to airlift Brad right now? Is this going to end up being like a swinging situation?
Did you go football mentality, low man wins, I'm not going to let this guy beat me.
That is true. I thought about just getting all the way down.
You got down pretty low. I thought you were going to throw out your back.
I was Jason Kelsey tush push stat. I was trying to get down on all fours there. It was good.
And now I'm realizing that I missed my calling as an O lineman.
God, could you
Low
imagine?
man wins.
Brad Williams led tush push, unstoppable.
Well, not only was it funny because visually that was funny, you were also interrupting a story of Brad Williams kicking a one-legged man out of his last show. That's the story that you interrupted.
I did. I did. There is no love lost between people who share parking in the handicapped space. He was gone. Get out of my show, sir.
Now, did you know he was one-legged before you kicked him out?
I did not. I did not.
So when he gets up.
I was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and where all the one-legged people hang out. And the guy was talking way too much. And it's the worst kind of heckler to me. I will gladly take a heckler that yells out "F you" more than a guy that loves me but is just talking too loud and commenting on every joke and be like, that's so true when you did that. Like, God damn it.
That's a great joke, Brad Williams.
Yeah,
that's great. You're killing it, Brad.
That's what I'm doing. It's like he's encouraging me, but it's like your mom clapping too loud in the stands. Like, Mom, shut up! I can do this. And so I talked to him. He's like, hey, I paid good money to get in here, and I like, dude, you gotta shut up. And I finally had to kick him out. So he stands up and he does the walk, and when he walks, the pant leg goes up, and I see the shiny metal underneath, and I'm like, oh no, no. And I kind of, and then because I can't filter thoughts, I go, you have one leg, sir?
Oh, so you just decided to play with the cards out.
Let's go. And then he turns and goes, yep. And I was like, am I kicking out a soldier? Did you serve? And he goes, nah, car accident. And I'm like, okay, get like, if it's a soldier, then yeah. But I actually kept talking to him, and then because I felt bad, I invited him back. And he sat down, and we proceeded with the show. But then it just kept going. He got his second chance to the point where now I see the faces of the people around him being uncomfortable, and I'm like, all right, well now you. So I kicked him out again. No, I kicked him out again, and he gave me the whole like, well, do you know how much I paid for these tickets? And I go, an arm and a leg.
It's time for Vegas legend Carrot Top.
The man is a legend, and he's a legend in Vegas where it's hard to be a legend. I've seen him. His face is ID to get into all the big places. And he's also, though, he's a Florida guy as well, and I think he should be a Panther fan because he grew up in Boca. So I don't know where he is, but I believe he's bigger than Wayne Newton now. He's more Vegas than Wayne Newton, and I'm not joking when I say comedy legend for 40 bleeping years. 40 bleeping years and still doing it 4 times a night. In Vegas, you, Carrot Top, Mr. Top, are rooting for who in this series?
You can't say 40 bleeping years. It just doesn't sound cool. You know, you gotta say 40 years. But it's gonna be really rough. This might be the hardest decision of my life. Being from Boca, I think I performed at the Sunrise Musical Theater when I was young. But my roots, I mean, I'm in Vegas. They're listening to me right now. I'm here in Las Vegas, and it's tough. I got to be honest. I think my heart is a little more for Las Vegas.
What? No!
I know.
No!
I'm here
you
every night.
sell out. You sell out.
Are you cranking it before the game?
Yeah. You mean like drugs?
No, I mean the thing where you crank it and you get everybody out.
Hey, are you cranking it before? Yeah, man. No,
have you ever cranked it?
Yes, they have. That's a personal question, but yes, I have cranked it. They give me they gave me that twice. I've done it twice, and apparently Wayne Newton has beaten me by one crank. So
I was watching. I was at game 2, and I was watching.
I've got to catch up on crank. I got to catch up on a crank.
Wayne looks great.
Wayne looks like hell. What are you talking about? Be honest.
Come on, Carrot Top.
No.
That's not
No, I love Wayne. Seriously.
Then you can't take out the legend. What's the matter with you? But you are. You are more Vegas. Wayne. No, you are more Vegas than him, though. You are.
No, he's Mr. Vegas. I'm Mrs. Vegas. He changed one night. We were doing a video, and it's really hot, right? I looked over, and Wayne Newton's hair was dripping. So I went over and I said, "Your hair dripping with what?" I said, "I got to fix your hair." And he looked back at me, and I said, "It's just drip." It was like the little black,
Oh no.
dye was dripping. So
That's not natural?
No, it's natural. It's just naturally dripping. It was naturally dripping.
Wait, I want to really.
I didn't let him sit there and drip. I thought I should probably step in.
But you have seen Hollywood melt away, vanity melt away, and so you had to laugh to yourself that symbol for Vegas excess, that his hair was dripping down his face.
Yeah, I know what to do. No one else was doing it. The makeup artist was like, I'm not touching it. I'm like, someone fix Wayne Newton's hair. So I took over the.
I mean, you don't hate the Panthers though because they keep getting
no.
No, but their fans
I love the
keep
Panthers. Love the Panthers. Great Americans. No, I love. I don't know why I'm doing my Trump impression is the worst in the world, but I just go into it when you need to.
I think it's pretty good.
Oh, is it? Is it pretty good?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'll tell Sasha Michelle Millet that Carrot Top does a really good Donald Trump.
Always been a fan of you, Bob. Always been a fan.
I wish we could say the same.
Big bet. Oh, come on. We gotta work together. Well, I love this game. It's very exciting though. Coming to 2-0. I mean, it's really this town's going crazy, as you know.
And they're getting in the way.
Florida's probably going crazy too. Oh yeah. Are they talking that already?
Have you ever been to the arena? Because it's kind of where you went to community college. It's like in the Everglades.
I was curious as to where it was because I said I lived in Florida my entire life. I don't think I've been to that area very often. When I went to Boca, I was in Boca. I guess it's not too far from there.
It's right next to Sawgrass Mills. You ever been to Sawgrass Mills?
Sawgrass Mills, man, it's been a while. But they apparently have a hockey team down there, so that's good.
This is a good show.
How do we get Gustav Forsling going?
What's that?
How do we get Brandon Montour going?
Yeah, like anything else, they're gonna have to get these guys motivated, and that's what they did in the last game. I mean, I think it's just like watching the basketball game last night. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but that series is unbelievable. How close the first, second, third games have been by one like motivating thing, one factor that all comes in. Same as the Knights, they came in really motivated. Now I think we'll see what happens down in
Do you think
Florida.
Game 3 was rigged though? Because we have some
game rigged.
Yeah, like the officials rigged it.
Rigged.
You mean the basketball game last night?
Yeah, very clearly.
Oh, everything's rigged in sports.
Yeah,
the whole thing is rigged.
Guys, what are we doing?
He knows what he's talking about. Does when Wayne Newton speaks to you, do his teeth whistle?
He doesn't. Yes.
They look like they whistle.
He said yes. He said yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say. He never speaks. What am I talking? He never speaks to me. What are you crazy? He's never spoken to me. There's no eye contact. No eye contact.
I got to be honest though. It seems to us, honestly, and I don't know if the Vegas has gotten to you. The vanity
teeth whistle. Yeah. That's the ref. They just look at Wayne.
Jay Leno and Noise Letterman with a sandwich for laughs.
So honestly, thrilled to be doing this with you because I have admired your work. You are just such a sculptor. You're an artist as a comedian. It's sort of the
Why? Thank you.
Well, the craft of it. It's such a hard way to make a living, Jay. I don't even understand how you make a living that way. I really don't. You have to be demented to choose, you know what? I'm going to laugh my way to the top. I'm going to take the expectation of funny, and that's how I'm going to get rich. Get out of here. It's crazy.
It seems sort of second nature to me. I think it's one of those things if it's what you like to do, it just comes. I remember when I was in college, I'm dyslexic, so I would get out of any sort of written things, and I was taking speech therapy. And I remember the professor said, now at the end of the class, each student will have to give a 20-minute talk. And people went, 20 minutes? Oh my God, I get done. I thought, I'll do it right now. I'll talk for 20 minutes. Yeah, let's do this. So it just struck me as funny.
But you could be funny in an instant? You knew that this was something?
No, not funny. I had to give a 20-minute talk. I mean, I didn't have a routine. I wasn't a comedian yet, but it just seemed natural. I mean, I always read that getting eaten by a shark and public speaking are the two things most people are afraid of, that kind of stuff.
But not you, right? Like that, you didn't need attention, right? An audience just didn't scare you, right? Even though you were dyslexic, even though...
No, it didn't scare me. You know what's interesting? A lot of people don't realize, you remember the Smothers Brothers, right?
Yes.
Well, Tommy Smothers was dyslexic, and they were folk singers, but Tommy would get the songs wrong. Michael, boat the row ashore. No, it's row the what? And they made it part of their act. And that's kind of how they became a sort of funny comedy singing team,
How do you watch stand-up comics? Because I imagine you are watching not just to laugh, but to see where the comic's insecure, where the comic looks off stage or looks at his feet. I imagine.
No, not really. I watch it just to enjoy it. You know, I like comedy. I enjoy watching comedians. You have to be careful when you're a comedian because someone does a joke and then you realize you never want to be on stage and that subject comes up and your mind immediately goes to that person. So you have to be careful not to try and take somebody else's material. You know, that's sort of the biggest trick. A lot of times you don't want to watch comedians do routine on a particular subject because if you're developing something along the same line, oh, now you can't do yours because it's too close to theirs or whatever it might be. But no, I watch it. You know, it's like I like to make love, but I don't want to be a gynecologist. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it just being, you know, just being around it and being with comics. It's always fun.
You came up through the pipeline of where stand-up comedy was born, right? Like, I mean, you're almost at the roots, Jay. I mean, I don't know if it's Pryor and Carlin, but coming up through the LA comedy circuit, coming up through the comedians, when you were writing with David Letterman for J.J. Walker, right? Like coming up through the Comedy Store. Can you take me through the path of what you imagine?
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Stugotz, how do you feel about Mark Stein reporting that Durant wanted 4 teams on his list instead of 3, but that the Knicks made it clear they weren't interested in KD, so he kept them off their list?
I'm okay with that. Again, we started the show saying one of the problems with the NBA is we're all sitting around talking about a 37-year-old guy and what a difference he can make for a team. I'm okay with the Knicks not wanting Kevin Durant. I don't know if Kevin Durant wins them an NBA title. In fact, he probably doesn't, and I'm okay with the Knicks passing and keeping that core together.
I think I can make the argument that statistically Kevin Durant was better than Jalen Brunson last year. Could I not? Could I not also make the argument that Kevin Durant is someone, even though Jalen Brunson is the clutchiest of clutch, you need someone the size of Kevin Durant to be able to get you all of those shots you need, that Jalen Brunson has taken you as far as he can go.
Stu, if you don't have to lose Jalen Brunson or Karl Anthony Towns, why would the Knicks say no to Kevin Durant?
Well, what am I losing?
Does it matter?
Well,
as long as it's not those 2 names, does it matter?
I would find it nearly impossible that Kevin Durant would go to the Knicks without one of those players. It's not going to be Brunson, but Towns going back.
But that's fine. You're saying that Kevin Durant wouldn't want to go there. I'm telling you, if I'm the Knicks,
right,
and I know I don't have to give up Jalen Brunson, I don't have to give up Karl Anthony Towns, I absolutely would want Kevin Durant. This would be one of those situations that Mike got so upset about, that you're not willing to get rid of some of your, other players to get the superstar. No, get rid of them. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, be gone.
But do you think that's a possibility? Because if you're presenting
that's a terrible defensive team.
But if you're presenting it that way, of course I would want Kevin Durant. I just find it nearly impossible that Towns doesn't leave the Knicks if they get Kevin Durant.
I don't know how many people are clamoring for Karl Anthony Towns right
I
now,
like Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, they do. They don't really have a whole lot of assets. They do. Those 2 contracts that I just mentioned are expiring. So if Phoenix wants to rebuild, they just have to deal with that for 1 year. So there are ways that the Knicks could get involved. So to hear a report that the Knicks aren't interested or denying Kevin Durant sounds pretty ridiculous.
What does that say about Kevin Durant?
That the Knicks don't know what he is, that they don't know who he is, and they don't know how to utilize him.
I mean, I don't want Kevin Durant. That team has a good thing going. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They took a step from last year, Eastern Conference semifinals.
You don't think that's their ceiling? That team's ceiling right there. You don't think
Dan Halliburton hit a lucky shot game 1. Otherwise, maybe the Knicks are playing for an NBA title right now.
Your best option is to find a coach that can somehow enhance the offense of Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson and make this team rather unstoppable. But going back to Kevin Durant, if I am Kevin Durant, I don't want to go to a franchise that has some uncertainty in the coaching ranks, right? Just got rid of somebody who maybe he would play for I don't know who, right?
No, but he wanted to go there. No, but he was okay going there. They don't want him. I'm at least
he had his chance, Dan.
I'm at least a little bit surprised by that. I want to ask the group of you, though, off of yesterday. I don't know what you guys think is the primary job of a coach. Managing people is just generally hard. I know when it comes to, for example, Stugotz, in the very few Hollywood directors that I've ever been able to talk to, and it's only been a couple, will tell you that the director's job is basically to just be a place where all the people can come and get answers to their problems. A CEO will tell you, a lot of CEOs will tell you that a CEO's job is just to deliver bad news, that it's not what you think it is. It's just the perpetual delivery of bad news. When it comes to big decisions, the reason I pay Rick Carlisle is to have the strength of governance over his proceedings, that when I'm down 2 in the fourth quarter, he knows he's got to sit the guy who's got 6 drives in the game and bring in McConnell, because a healthy McConnell is better than Halliburton with 6 drives in the game. You're 2 points on the road from taking game 5 and bringing it home. The decision I need my coach to make is the most difficult one to make. I sit my star who wants to play but is useless, because Halliburton, that way, loses to a lot of teams in the league, because that's not good enough. TJ McConnell was good in that third quarter. That's the decision I'm paying the coach to make. I understand today people questioning it, and I also understand why Carlisle goes with the guy that he has, because he thinks he's got some magic, and maybe because Halliburton's his star for years to come, you got to just keep riding that, because you give away this season with the decision, but you can't make the other decision, because the other decision is the brave one, that if you lose the game the same way, people are going to say, why isn't Halliburton in the game, even injured?
I think that's the perspective a guy like Rick Carlisle has to have. Not only did he win a championship, but he won it with a championship. He won that championship with a superstar who was aging, right? It felt there was extra pressurized to get it there. With Tyrese Halliburton, even last year's run just to the conference finals, but certainly this year's run to the finals, feels like you're doing this with house money, feels like they're a little ahead of the curve here. So the last thing you would want to do is injure your player for next year. You want to keep this sort of upswing going and make sure that, hey, if we are this type of team that can own the East for years to come, we have to have our superstar. So it makes it a little bit of an easier decision, only because Rick Carlisle has that perspective.
That's the long term, but for the now, your job is to give your team the best chance to win. And if McConnell is going to give your team the best chance to win, that's the guy you have to go to, even if it means Halliburton doesn't play as much.
It's easy to say today, and Izzy's telling you that he thinks a lot of coaches make the move to McConnell since 2019, and I don't think a lot do. I think a lot of coaches just stay with the injured guy because he wants to play. He's my star. He's my leader. The other guy, McConnell, is used to a specific role that isn't playing the last 8 minutes of the game and controlling everything. And so I would have made the same decision Carlisle made. I'm not sitting here arguing easily on the other end of, well, they lost, therefore the other move is the move that's going to work. I'm just presenting to the audience what a difficult decision that is. I know everyone's going to criticize it today. It's just when you live with these people, they're human beings, and your job is to manage them. McConnell's role is McConnell's role. Halliburton's your star for the next 10 years. I understand what Carlisle did, even if it cost him the game. It's just like they were right there on the championship in Game 4 and Game 5, and they're a decision away from the winning margin, and Carlisle's done a great job in this series, but on that one, in retrospect, that's clearly the wrong decision by result and process, I would say, because he's hurt, and he was obviously hurt, and he was hurt in a way we could all see, so his defense isn't going to be any good. And again, Stugotz, if Halliburton's got 6 drives in the game, that ceases to be Halliburton.
Yeah, and what makes this unique, though, is the injury specifically. It's the calf injury that people are very sensitive about because it obviously leads to Achilles injuries.
Tony Reale is now ready. He is poolside. South Florida is still buzzing on the cusp of a championship. Is anyone out there with you, or are you at the pool by yourself? Because I don't see buzzing. I don't hear buzzing. I just see you with sunglasses.
Oh, no. And this is pretty good right now, but I got my man right here, Joshy.
How are you?
Josh is an enormous fan.
Biggest you could ever hope for.
Of what?
What are we talking about?
Yeah. Talking about the Florida Panthers on the cusp of a championship tonight. What's going through your mind right now?
I think they're against the oil, right?
The oil.
That's
oil.
He knows Puck.
Who we're operating
That's what
against.
Puck knows call him.
Yes, you know Puck. All right, so since you know Puck, third line of the Panthers, really, what are you expecting from them?
Whoa, that's a hard question.
Is that the one with Chichuka?
Oh, okay, so Barkey is where you want to go. Barkov, yeah.
Kachuk.
X Factor, right? Okay, yeah, Kachuk. Okay, yeah. So you're here in Miami, and you're visiting, and you're from
Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Wonderful. And that's already like a vacation spot. And now you go to Miami for more vacation because that's your life.
Cannot get enough sun.
What makes you positive?
My wife.
Yes.
Life,
Yeah.
Job. I get to come to Miami and talk hockey, which is my favorite sport of all time.
Have you ever been to a hockey rink?
I have, yes.
Have you ever been on ice?
No, I have no balance.
See, so this is with the Dan Le Batard Radio Show, and they want to talk to as many people who breathe and live and sleep Florida Panthers, because that's what I've been touring all of Miami, and I have found a grand total of about 2 people.
Perfect. Well, I'm half of one of those 2.
Dan, you want to ask Josh anything?
His career with the Saints, when Jeremy Shockey caught all those passes as a New Orleans.
He thinks you look like Jeremy Shockey, a Miami Hurricane tight end, who then became a.
Shockey is.
You know Shockey?
Yeah, football. I know a little bit about
Okay,
football.
you a Cardinals fan?
No, I'm a Seahawks fan.
All right, Tony, I have a question. Tony, I have a question for him.
All right, Stugotz is with us. Yes.
I want to know, since he's a big football fan, how does he feel about Michael Vick?
Wants to know. Mike, how do you feel about Michael Vick?
Them damn dogs. I mean.
All right, yeah. So now we're going. Okay,
excellent.
This is the. Okay, all right. This is stupidity is what we would describe this as. But you don't sense that this city is ready to explode with the championship.
This city is already pretty crazy from what I've experienced. So
Yeah.
if they win tonight, is it in Florida tonight?
Will you try to seek out the party the Panthers are at?
Probably not, but I'll get close to it.
Okay, yeah. We're looking for proximity to party right here. That's what we're doing.
Okay,
today.
it looks like a good
Dan,
party.
You found it.
Yes, be careful. I remember when he was at in Vegas at a pool party one time. They said it was dehydration. It didn't seem like it was
He's
dehydration.
still saying you look like Shockey. he thinks you look like Jeremy
Okay,
Shockey.
we're moving on.
Yeah,
See you later, Tony. We'll check
Thank
back
you.
in with you. Keep
All
looking
right.
for Panther fans.
This is Mission Impossible, man. I don't know what you sent me on.
No, it's a big night in South Florida. The championship.
Big night.
We
Big night
flew
in
you
South
in.
Florida.
We flew you in with a big expense account
you.
to go offer tuition to people if the score is 9-0. We'll check back in with you. One of the things we haven't talked about today, though, Stugotz, and we've erred in not doing so. Jonathan Zaslow lost a monster bet last night.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got to come in here, I believe, soon with a hair system of some sort and not be able to tell anybody that it's a hair system. He's not going to be able to cover that big surface area of baldness with a backward cap either.
He's got to keep kayfabe. Now, we're researching hair systems. Like I said, I take this very seriously. Hell, I want him to take a consultation. So he's scheduled for tomorrow because tomorrow's, the recap of Game 6. Don't think we're going to have a system in place in time that we feel good about. But for the remainder of the summer, we're going to have several options presented for Jonathan Zaslow, and he must not call attention to it. He just puts on his hair system in the morning, comes into work, and he just handles business.
It's going to be funny. He can't mention it, talk about it with anybody. Stugotz,
Now, what is your appetite in terms of budget here? Because I really want something that's convincing.
They're expensive, man.
Yeah, like if you want the Ravi collection, it's going to cost you a couple hundo. If you want the self collection, we're talking about something even
I
more.
want una peluca from La Casa de los Trucos. I want just
It's got to be like one low rent option that's just obvious.
a wig.
There's
So
a
the
dude
Ravi.
there's a dude that works valet downstairs, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. I can just pull it off.
Oh
of
my
his.
God!
Did you see that guy?
Oh my God!
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly
This
what you're
this
talking.
take kills with just us two.
It doesn't help visually either.
Man,
that
I
we
hope
don't know what he looks like.
maybe one day Reality's going to be doing his thing for us, and you can just catch him like on the periphery. And I'll be like, "That's a guy." You'll know it when you see
It's
it.
a double take. You're like,
Yeah. Also, if you're going to do that, you can't go jet black. Even Ravi's learned
that's
touch a
the
gray.
move.
Yes, you have to, right?
That's the move.
That's a bad loss for Zaz. It was an unfair bet. He had to go over 50.5 Shea Gilgeous-Alexander points, rebounds, and assists when he'd only done that a couple of seasons.
That
He
was
accepted
a
it.
terrible bet.
He didn't even hit the original number.
Terrible?
Excuse me. This is thousands of dollars for these 2 tickets. You got to want to earn, got to want to learn, or something like that.
we will see what the appetite is for a budget to make Zaslow look ridiculous because he lost that bet last
Well, he
night.
already looks ridiculous.
I'm planning on him to look good. The ridiculous
This is
part,
to help him out.
The ridiculous part is him not being able to admit that he has a system in place. So, like, no, I want Zaz to look great. I'm going to do him a great service here.
I have a number of things that I want to get to here with Billy that I have failed to get to over the last couple of days. He's developed a new fondness for hotel safes that I did not
I want one at
realize
my house.
he had. Where did this come from? Like
A hotel.
No, I got it.
The
but
safe in the hotel.
Where did what happened? What was your experience with a hotel safe that makes you want to? And by the way, Kevin Durant, Stugotz, averaged 26 points a game last year on 53% shooting. Jalen Brunson averaged 26 points a game on 48% shooting.
Left turn. We're talking safes.
Yeah.
I'm just updating you.
Durant's had his chance to come to the Knicks. He chose the Brooklyn Nets. I don't want him. I don't care.
You said left turn.
Right.
Vroom, vroom.
No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk
Gearhead.
gear.
There's a
No.
big race in Mexico,
Do you want to
Dan.
see the Joseph
I
Newgarden?
wanna
They had
understand-
windshield wipers.
No, I want to understand why Billy fell in love with the hotel safe, how he's using it, why he wants one in his house. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Would you like a hotel safe in your house?
Well, because I just put my phone in it. I woke up, I checked my phone, and then I put it in the hotel safe, and then I disappeared for 8 hours or whatever amount of time I was gone, and then I came back and I checked it after the kids were asleep, and I was very happy. Just putting my stuff in a hotel safe, not having to check my phone anymore.
So just not having the phone is what made you
That
happy.
really
Yes,
is what
right.
it is.
So it's not about
Yeah.
the safe at all. All you needed to do was get away from your
The
phone
phone
for
could
a
have
couple of hours.
phone could have stayed in the room, just on the bed.
No. You got to put
That's
it in
not
the
safe.
safe because the safe adds a level of inconvenience that you then need to go and you need to put in the
Some
code.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to get
right.
up and you have to go enter the code and then open it, and then if the door's slightly it's a whole thing. It makes it inconvenient. I want to inconvenience myself to get off my phone.
But don't all these housekeepers have the ability, like at the end of a stay, to reset these? Like the people you're trying to keep them from have access to the safe. If
I'm
they
pretty
want it.
sure, yeah. That I think you just do like 0000 or something like that, and it just opens and you reset the
I've
safe.
done it on a cruise before where I broke and they come in. They have this like little magnet thing. They just put up to it and boom, it opens.
Oh, if they want your stuff, they're taking your stuff.
Yeah,
no doubt
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
100%.
So put these on the poll, please. Is your stuff safe in a hotel safe? So is a hotel safe is how I want that to read on Twitter. Is a hotel safe at Le Batard Show?
Also, do you feel a little richer if you put stuff in there, right? Because I like looking around. I did this first time on a cruise. I'm like, what do I need to put in the safe? I'm like, well, wait a second. This little gold chain is probably, my AirPods is probably good. And you just start putting stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then when you get back and you open it up, it's like, wow, look at all these valuables I have.
They also can fit everything.
Right.
Like it seems like it's an endless. Like it looks small, but if you go, I don't know where. Like it has like a black hole. You just can put everything in there. You can put a computer in there. You can put in an iPad, a laptop, your phone,
your weed.
Yeah, I was going to say drugs. I was going to go harder than weed.
Really?
It's never good when you got to spray that thing down after.
At Le Batard Show, please. Do you feel wealthier when you put things in a hotel safe? And also, I guess since we're getting carried away, when you get your AirPods out of the hotel safe, do you feel like it's a treasure chest? Because I really don't understand what Izzy is doing, or Billy for that matter, because,
What do you mean?
Just you don't need the safe to be away from your phone.
No, I do.
You're saying it's unsafe to be away from your
If
phone.
there were certain steps you had to take every single day to get your phone, would you get your phone every day?
So it's funny you should mention that because about 3 years ago, okay, because I have told you before that I sort of want to frisbee all of my electronics into the ocean, but I sort of can't because there's something about what it is that we do here every day that requires at least a tangential knowledge of stuff that's going on. You've got to sort of keep up with things. And I've felt what Billy is feeling where I get relief from putting my phone somewhere and then dread coming to it 8 hours later because I know what's going to be on there and I'm going to be behind again. And my wife, 3 years ago, bought a glass case, and I don't know how popular these are, but it's basically addiction proof. It's a glass case that locks, and you put your phones in it, and you can't get back at the phones until it's an inconvenience every time.
Sounds like a hotel safe.
It's kind of like that, but I've never used it, right? She bought it 3 years ago, and I have not used it one time, but there is a glass case in our house that is basically trying to wean people off of the addiction of social media. It was a good purchase by her that I've never used.
It was a bad purchase.
I don't understand how it's used. Like,
is there a timer?
Does it lock? Is it one of those like trap doors where like
what if I just want to break the glass?
What if you actually have an emergency?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
It sounds like
I've
it's just a
never
box
used
with a
it.
lock.
I've never used it. I can't answer
Use it
any
tonight.
follow-up questions. I don't have any more information other than what I'm giving you, which is basically that Billy did the same thing I didn't do for 8 hours that my wife wanted me to do and wanted me to do daily or nightly as a way of just keeping information out of your head when you're trying to do things like sleep.
It's more the people than the information I want to keep away from me. Like, I just don't want to talk to people when I'm like on vacation. So I put it in the safe. Also, glass, not good, because then you can see like if you have a notification or whatever, and then it's really like more of a torture device.
It's a time lockbox. That's what you got you. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Give me some more information on what it is
I'm getting
that
there.
does.
Yes.
Billy, you have proven over time to be antisocial. You have rooted for home confinement.
No,
You
I'm
don't
not
want-
antisocial.
Billy?
I'm
Billy?
pro-social with people I want to speak to.
Okay, but you don't want to speak to anybody, which would then
No.
make you antisocial.
There's people I want to speak to.
Well, you said you wanted home confinement. You longed for home confinement as a way of living.
I like my home. What do you want me to do?
And not interacting with people who are in your home, like you, or not letting people into your home to interact with them. You like to be in your home with your family and don't want anyone else in there.
Oh, if that makes me a bad guy, I don't know what to
It
tell you.
doesn't make you a bad guy. It just makes you an antisocial guy. It does
I'm
not make
social
you
with the people that I want to be social with.
Billy, you've told me that you don't interact with your neighbors.
I do. Nana and Pepe, 90 and 87.
Little head nod.
I talk to them as, I try to get in all my conversations now because you never know when it might be the last, unfortunately. I have other neighbors, but I like Nana and Pepe. The other ones wet my dog with their hose. We don't need to get into it. It's a whole thing. And I think the other one, if we're going to be honest, and probably not for air, I think the other one is throwing tree trimmings into my backyard. But that's not something that can be proven yet. And when I tried to set up a camera, I didn't have my drill because I lent it to my dad. So that neighbor got off easy that day because we were about to have a camera situation set up and ready to go to catch them red-handed. Now, what I do with the footage when I catch them throwing the tree clippings into my yard, I haven't figured out yet. But I'm positive that it is happening. I do not have those trees. There's no way they're falling into my yard in that area. I think that they saw a vulnerable spot in my yard, and they realized that they could throw tree trimmings there, and I've let it go on for yay long, but no longer. And I've had to tell my wife, you're not to talk to that neighbor, because I know that will be the end of the tree trimmings going into my yard, but it will also be the end to whatever relationship I have with that neighbor, which is not good to begin with.
So you place your phone in the box, and you could set the timer to 30 minutes or 30 days. Imagine setting the timer to 30 days. And it's not just for your phone. It's anything that you could possibly be addicted to. I would never put my gummies in there. I would never put the weed in there. I can't have access to them for 30 days. That's ridiculous. It improves focus and productivity, reduces procrastination, and better time management. Dan, you should try it.
You know what I was looking for
Waste
recently?
of money.
You know what I was looking for recently? You know how, I don't know if your wife has gone through this phase yet, Dan, but like my wife has told me, and a lot of people tell me, like, oh, you shouldn't sleep with your phone next to you. It's, all of the radiation and the things that are coming out of that phone. You should get away from that and do this and that or whatever. I was looking for like anti-radiation bags that I can just put my phone in so that I could have it there. The problem with the anti-radiation bag, and by the way, if you're listening to this and you create it, this is like I'm mailing a video of this to myself, and I'm not opening the envelope, and that's just proof that I invented this, and you can't steal the idea from me. That's how copyrights work. So if this anti-radiation bag happens, the thing that I've found is the bags that they sell, it blocks the signal, so it makes your phone useless. So it's kind of like, well, I don't want it to be useless. I need my phone in case of an emergency. I just don't want the radiation coming off of my phone. So I need to I'm getting back in the lab to figure out how I can block the radiation but keep the signal coming so that I don't get the radiation right next to my head, but I get the signal. Because I was thinking, do you guys remember when Sun Passes first came out? When Sun Passes first came out, that they were like the size of a brick. They used to come in like these little metallic like Ziploc bags that would block out if you weren't going through a toll, or I guess if you're intending to go through a toll and not paying, or you just had a car full of Sun Passes, the little metallic baggie would prevent the laser from getting through and charging the Sun Pass system. So I was hoping one of those would exist for radiation.
I've got a couple of different questions. Put this on.
I've
the
got
poll,
answers.
At Le Batard Show. I don't think you have answers. At Le Batard Show, please put on the poll, Juju. Do you sleep with your phone by your head? Yes or no?
Charging is an important question too.
That could start fires now if your cable is slightly frayed, which happens with every cable. They make those cables to break, if we're going to be honest.
He has the answers.
I also wanted to ask the question, the Sun Pass, is that national? Because I assumed Sun Passes were called Sun Passes because it was a Florida thing. Are they called? Sun Passes may have their equivalent in other
Toll
states,
passes.
but are they called Sun Passes in every state? Do people know what Sun Passes are, or is that just Florida?
They're just toll passes. They're just different names in different areas, but they're toll passes.
Yeah, there's an Easy Pass, and sometimes the Sun Pass works in other states. They have a partnership with it.
But is it called a Sun Pass because the Sun
Sunshine
Pass
State.
is in Florida?
I think so.
And then
Sun's everywhere.
I understand the sun's everywhere.
I got
Thank
answers for you.
You do
In
have
South
answers.
Carolina, it's called the Palmetto Pass.
There you go.
Give me all the different names if you don't mind.
There's some of those, by the way. I just had to buy a new Sun Pass because my car got totaled, and I had I had the sticker on it, right? So I had to take the sticker off of the Sun Pass. But once you take off the sticker, you can't move the Sun Pass from place to place. So I decided, just in case another car gets totaled, I'm going to buy the little transponder, slightly pricier, but more convenient if your car gets totaled or if you have a rental or whatever. You can just boop, take it off, put it here, put it there. And those transponders that are not the stickers, they work in various states. There's a little map that shows you all the states they work in.
I checked Idaho. They don't have toll roads.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Sun Pass Mini works in Florida, Georgia, Kansas, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Texas. The Sun Pass Pro, which is portable, works in Easy Pass states. There's a partnership between them. Delaware, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, and West Virginia.
And Idaho, where you don't need one at all.
Are we sure that Stugotz's information is right, that Idaho doesn't have tolls?
It's right, yeah. In Kansas, they call it the K-tag.
I like that. The K-tag?
Yeah.
You gotta be. It's a little
Nice.
tricky with the one you can move around because it's got the suction cups on the glass. So if your glass isn't totally clean, sometimes it'll fall off. It's tricky.
K-Tag, Toll Tag, Easy Tag, Express Toll, TX Tag for Texas, Pike Pass also.
I like that, a Pike Pass.
Idaho does not have toll roads according to DMV.
Thank you.
Can you please find out the reason for that? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
Idaho.
Did you know that Idaho did not have tolls?
Stugotz nailed it.
It's Idaho. Thank you. That's all the information we need on that. I was confused by recent information I got where Mike Ryan is texting me that Stan is in town. And all of a sudden I start reaching out to Stan Van Gundy saying, hey, do you want to go to lunch? And then I realized that Mike was just saying the Stanley Cup is in town. And Chris Cody was informing me.
Stan must have been confused.
Yes, he was confused. I was confused.
That wouldn't be my top topic on the board.
Stan is in town. I thought was Stan Van Gundy is here, and it is not. It's that the Stanley Cup trophy has arrived in South Florida, and we were wondering how it flew. Because the Stanley Cup needs to have its own seat in first class, does it not? If you're not going to put it if you're not going to put it next to the pilot as the co-pilot, then it has to fly first class. But it would appear
like out of the box, like the cup in the chair, buckled in.
Can't have it as a co-pilot. Need those two pilots talking after the rehearsal. Can't risk it.
I disagree. I will say that no, and this is sensitive at the moment given what's happened in India, but I would say if the Stanley Cup is on your plane, I'm feeling pretty safe that plane is going to
Only
stay
if it's
in
on
the air.
11A.
That's
You got to
true.
put the cup on 11A.
11A. Also, 2 white old pilots. That's what I like.
Right.
Pilots hate that show, right?
JG
Like
vets, yeah.
every plane now, like everyone's like kind of looking like, does it seem like they're friendly with each other? What do you think's going on there?
Feels so safe when it's 2 white guys. Woo!
All I'm saying is that I know this Fort Lauderdale airport like the back of my hand, and that looked like the normal baggage pickup. And it's just like I would expect that to fly private, to be weird, like the way you see celebrities coming off private jets. That's what I would imagine the Cup to be doing.
I'm reading now. It is checked in like regular baggage.
That's crazy.
I know,
you
nuts.
could just go take anything from baggage claim if you wanted to.
Thank you, Billy. Talk about the worst security in the world. Everywhere else in the airport, you got to go through all these bells and whistles, but you get the baggage claim? No, take any bag you want.
What happens if that guy has to go to the bathroom and Phil, whatever his name is, has to go to the bathroom all of a sudden, and then someone says, you know what, that looks like my case where I carry my own Stanley Cup replica. And then whoopsie daisy, they take the actual Stanley Cup and only the replica remains. Or Phil opens it up and boom, there's a bassoon in there.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. If the Stanley Cup were in a trunk at baggage claim, would you be tempted to steal it?
Whoops.
If no one was
You can't
watching?
label it properly, right? I've seen enough heist movies that I know when you are moving precious cargo, the real one that's valuable is in like a satchel, right? And the replica that they want you like
the old bait and switch.
The decoy is the one that travels in like the case. The Stanley Cup, honestly, is probably being moved around in a JanSport, if we're going to be honest.
I am convinced that post
I have answers.
Post 50 years
Really
old,
does.
that Stugotz is only interested in the
History
scenarios
didn't happen 50 years ago.
where he can get his phrase, the old bait and switch out there. OL apostrophe. That and the switcheroo are all he's going
got it
for.
in, yeah.
Izzy mentioned 11A, Stugotz, as a seat. Do you have any idea what he's referencing there? Because this is a fairly amazing story. When they mention seat 11A, do you know what they're talking about?
No idea.
Okay, this is the second time this has now happened with a seat that is 11A. The plane that went down in India had only one survivor. And I don't know how that person survived. It doesn't make any sense to me how that person survived when everyone else dies. Like, I don't understand the math of it. I don't understand the physics of it. I don't understand how there can only be one survivor. But twice this has now happened with plane crashes where the person in 11A, and I think it was the previous time that this happened, that story involved someone changing seats before the flight to get into seat 11A to survive a flight. I saw the person interviewed. The person was interviewed in English, and face was busted up, but looked otherwise fine. Like, didn't...
He got up. He walked away from the airplane crash.
The things that I've read about that previous to this plane crash is where you want to sit based on any sort of models on crashes is not too far up near the cockpit or first class area. You want to be in the area in front of the wing, but not too far up near the cockpit of the plane.
The first
and that's
couple
exactly
rows
where
past
11A was.
the first couple rows past first class is what.
So put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you now more inclined to want to sit in seat 11A on an airplane?
On every flight.
If I'm an airline, I'm raising the prices just for 11A.
Make that a second first class. Make it higher than first class.
I feel like you just
make it a throne.
You have to bid on it.
Serve prime rib at just 11A.
I think if you pay for 12A, and then if shit hits the fan, you just kind of like push your hey.
And you have to take a
I'm coming on
physical
this
to make
row.
sure you're in decent shape, right? Because you don't want to be weakling, and then all of a sudden you just die
Scoot over.
because the plane shook a little bit.
Scoot over 11A. I'm squeezing in.
Chris, are you alleging that the cup does indeed fly the equivalent of Coach because they just throw it in there with all your grandma's clothing?
I'm telling you that I've picked up my bag from that exact conveyor belt. Yeah. And that looks like the standard pick up your luggage at Fort Lauderdale. And I just can't believe Ethan was out here being like, it's a photo op. It flew private, and then they brought it over to this thing. I'm like, why would
You
they
guys
do that?
need to stop listening to Ethan, putting him on microphones or repeating anything he says on the air.
What's wrong with Ethan? He's got good hockey information.
I mean, Dan's trying to be helpful, though.
So am I to believe that next year, because if the Panthers win, actually, hold on a second. Dan, your wish of the Panthers losing on purpose might present a great opportunity. We could we could steal the Stanley Cup. Like, if we know that it just flies regular, all we need to do is check the flights that are headed into Edmonton if the Panthers lose tonight, and then just hang out in baggage claim. Figure out where Phil's traveling from. It's from Fort Lauderdale, more likely than not, right? Just because of proximity to the stadium. And then just look at all of the flights that are leaving from the Fort Lauderdale area that are headed towards Edmonton. And you could time it out and just wait in baggage claim in Edmonton and steal the Stanley Cup.
You want to bring a box of your own so you can deny.
Yes.
I thought that was
right.
Put a couple stickers on.
The old switcheroo, as Stugotz said. Yeah, you go into the. I wouldn't say that anyone should do this, but you go in with your replica case, fill it with a bunch of bricks or whatever. This is. We're gonna need a crew. There's probably at least a 2-man job because you need someone that's distracting Phil to lay his his arrival towards baggage claim,
Right.
where you
I'm
make
in.
the old switcheroo.
Now, I'll tell you that Phil, the keeper of the cup, does work with the airlines to ensure that it gets to his hands and his hands only.
That is sitting on like a luggage corral that I'm seeing right there. That photo has it just sitting there out in the open for the taking, upside down even.
Billy, I just question whether the satisfaction would be the same if we stole it instead of won it.
What do you mean?
Like if we just steal the cup and we're on the run
Cup's
with
a
it.
cup.
Oh no, there's a black market for the Stanley
don't
Cup
know we're gonna
without a
have the
doubt.
same
Without a doubt, there's a black market for the Stanley Cup. You
McDavid
could
would
move
pay
the
you a
cup.
lot for it.
Yeah.
Hey!
Look at, but also, by the way, I would like to say, I don't know what airline that was, if you see the luggage tag or whatever, but that clearly has multiple fragile stickers on it, and it's upside down. Like, they are not taking care of that bag the way that it was
United.
instructed to be taken care of.
Billy,
Yeah.
I don't think you know how black markets work.
What do you mean?
You can't sell stuff that is one of a kind.
Yes, you
that is-
can.
That is stolen.
There's always, yeah. I don't think you understand how black markets work. That's
right.
exactly how they
All
work.
the stolen stuff is
There's
on the black
always
market.
a buyer. Yeah, that's how you move art pieces that are stolen. There's always a buyer on the black market.
Dan's only been to white markets.
Dan, you love documentaries. I will tell you, there's a documentary series that's out on Netflix now that it's about stealing the world's biggest diamond out of this, I think it's called like the Millennium Dome or something in London. It's 3 episodes. It's a quick watch. Like
They know how to
40
get
minutes
you
each.
in.
And they were trying to steal the largest diamond in the world. And there was a buyer waiting. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but there was a buyer waiting. That's how the black market works. There's always a buyer. I don't know how you find the buyer. I don't know how you access the black market. But if you have something that's one of one, there's someone on the black market that's willing to pay top dollar-ish for it.
He really has the answers, man. I mean,
Can one of you please look up for me? When I was in Norway for the Olympics, while I was there in Oslo, someone stole the Scream painting, the famous Scream painting. And it's not something you can resell. You guys know what
On
I'm
the black
talking about
market
when
it
I
is.
say
The dark web.
Look up for me, please, what happened after that was stolen and how difficult it is to sell something like that everyone knows is stolen.
You've seen the movies. It's some rich collector somewhere. He's got the piece of art in his bedroom that only like maybe 5 people in the world will ever have access to, and it's just a showpiece.
Yeah.
You just can't tell anybody
Pierce
about it. You sign
Brosnan's
an
on the
NDA when
phone
you walk
with
in the
him.
door.
Well,
You
yeah.
need to have
Scene,
you need the buyers lined up before you pull off the heist. Because if you do it without the heist, then they know that there's a desperation for you to move it, and then the price goes down. You need the buyers in advance. More than one buyer, obviously, is the prime situation because then you have them outbidding each other.
So when you tell your friends, hey, Stan is in town, they know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 10 to 50 high-profile, that's quite the range, but The Guardian did a piece on this, 10 to 50 high-profile cases of famous original pieces of work replaced by a fake because the original was stolen. In fact, it is estimated in this article that hundreds to the low thousands aren't the actual original piece because the original piece was stolen and then replaced by a fake.
Isn't that what happened in the Mr. Bean movie, right? Where Whistler's mother was stolen and they ended up replacing it just with like a
Zagak.
poster from the gift shop. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the Mr. Bean movie. But they just use a replica from the gift shop. No one knew the difference.
In fact, the Uzbek State Art Museum employees sold originals and replaced them with fakes for over 15 years.
I keep seeing the Michael Cera movie being shoved down my throat. What is it like? There's a new movie
Superbad.
coming out, The Phoenician something. You guys know what movie I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
isn't that a Wes Anderson
Yes,
movie?
Michael Cera is just knocking off Mr. Bean in that.
Okay,
have you seen that in the preview? No. It's just Michael Cera playing
Cera.
Mr. Bean.
It's Michael Cera that they're pushing down your throat.
Javier Bardem is in. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Benicio del Toro in that movie. I saw, since you mentioned Billy, documentaries and my love of documentaries. I've been on a scam documentary spree, just people who are scamming stuff, and see if you can look up the title of this for me because he went by Jace, but the name of the movie is Who the Bleep Is, and I've forgotten the person's name because it was Jace something, and then it became a different title. But that person was such a con artist, and I wonder what you do here. This is spoiler alert Tuesday. Is that what this is?
That's tomorrow, but we'll do it early. It's fine.
Today's Shirt Tuesday. Oh, no, today's not Shirt Tuesday? Okay.
What?
It's Spoiler Alert Tuesday.
How sure are you
Am
on
I supposed to take off my
Jace?
shirt?
Well, Jace is the name that it's not in the title as Jace, but he went in the movie by Jace, and the title of the movie is like Jack something because his name is not actually Jace. But the thing that he did as a con man that was funny and should have been obvious to the women is when he gave the woman that he was dating as a gift 3 women's watches on the same day.
Watches.
None of them in boxes. None of them in gift wrapping. They were simply stolen. He didn't give her 1. He gave her 3. And after 3 years of unrelenting fraud, she confronted him, having found out that he was fraud. And he just looks at her and said, and? Like, just a sociopath.
Yeah.
Just like, and she couldn't do anything. Like, her life was ruined, and he's just standing in the kitchen. He's like,
Checkmated her.
Yep,
Yeah.
everything's fake, and I don't care because I'm shameless. Like, yep, those 3 watches I gave you were clearly stolen because I didn't even put them in boxes, and I just gave you 3 watches at once.
Bad news.
It's a thought that counts.
Bad news. The who the bleep is Jack Jace prompt that I think you gave me, not coming up.
Yeah.
Again, Jace is not in the title.
Yes, I
sure?
know, but you
Right.
said Jack is potentially in the title. You didn't give me the title. You gave me a guy, Jace. So who the bleep? I did Jack Jace. Nothing so far.
All right, I'll find it. You guys can entertain
I like your
yourself.
chances.
No,
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
Hold on,
and-
TV
Just
show.
need a little bit more information. Who was in it?
Right.
It's a documentary. It's not a movie. It's
Okay.
a documentary that is a 3-episode, or it's a 2-episode documentary
So
about
docu-series.
fraud. Okay.
It's important. I mean,
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
When you're
when we're
searching,
tof
yeah.
give you an answer for
Do you
something
know what-
that's on the tip of your mind, and you're out here getting frustrated.
all right. So
What's it on?
Okay,
with
so it's
Apple.
Who the Bleep is Jason Porter. It's a rom-con. Rom-con is what it's called.
So not Jack, Jason Porter.
ROMCON. Who the Bleep is Jason Porter.
Yeah, Rom-con, who the bleep is Jason Porter. Got it. Okay.
And so
It's coming up now, yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys were able to find that on the internet with all the clues that I gave you, and then I had to look it up and find it on my own phone instead.
Well,
so
I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I didn't
What
give
are
you.
what
I
are we
know.
doing?
I didn't
Who
give
the
you.
bleep is Jack Jace?
I didn't give you enough information. I know. I had to give you more. I found it in seconds, but I had to give you more. I know.
Love
That's
a
how
good
that works.
rom-con.
That is a good title.
I like it.
What do you do if someone's been a fraud in your life for 3 years? They're standing in your kitchen. You confront them, and they're like, and?
Yeah, you host a radio show with him for 20 years.
Hey.
That's what you do.
It's such a gangster.
And you subscribe to God Bless Football.
Thank you. And stupidity.
Yeah, what's that web handle?
StuTube.
StuTube. Yes.
YouTube.com/@Stugotz790.
You're good.
Subribe.
You guys, he said that out loud. That wasn't in your ear.
I've never felt older.
You can't tell the difference.
You haven't? As if not knowing your own YouTube handle didn't do it for you?
It's Taylor's show.
How about Jack Jace?
The fraud genre in documentaries is great, and it's challenging the murder documentary. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the fraud documentary genre challenging the murder documentary genre? Because the shamelessness of this stuff is what grabs you. I would love to see the look on my wife's face if I tried to give her 3 watches that didn't have gift wrapping on them.